I've been here. Where
you picked that little fucking chick up on Thursday and nobody's seen you. You've been MIA. You took her back to the Jewish cave and you just slung dick and ate fucking tacos all weekend, didn't you?
Pretty much. It was great.
Unbelievable. You only left to get a little sun and to do the fucking Stairmaster and you go right back to the
house.
we
do the Stairmaster together and we go back.
And who's beating who in the diet?
Well, I've lost more pounds, but she has less to lose.
Okay.
So. But it's been going great. And I saw, big shout out, go see the Fluffy movie.
You liked it? You had a good time?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was cool. It was nice because I met him. He was nice on the podcast, so that was fun. But it was nice to go support him and found a new place, which is really cool because I'm looking for places to eat that are good for calories, right? In that AMC Burbank, there's a place called Asian Box, which is the funniest name in the world. But it's like an Asian Chipotle, and it was fucking delicious.
What'd you get?
Beef with a whole bunch of veggies and brown rice. It was a huge fucking bowl for like 500 calories. It was fucking delicious.
Come on.
Yeah, with a nice... I go crazy for peanut sauce. Like, you know that sauce they give you with satay?
Yeah.
Basically that. Oh, that stuff is my favorite. But
rub it on your little fucking Jew helmet.
I would.
Some dick cocksucker.
Oh my, I would.
Fucking pate sauce.
Satay. Oh, you don't like? Oh yeah, you don't like Thai food. I forgot.
Don't fucking fuck with that shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep it together. Reno was tremendous. It's great though. It's progressed. Reno. It looks good. It used to be 1978. Now they got it up to 1990 fucking one. It's tremendous. Everybody's still walking around with their White Snake t-shirts on. But I had a good time. Reno's a fucking great little town. I want to give a shout out to the Pioneer Underground Wayne. It was a great little club. It's cute. It's downstairs. It's basically an underground theater. The only thing I didn't like was that there's a what do you fucking call that? Like they have a break in the show.
Intermission?
Yeah.
Intermission, because it's a theater, so there's no real waitress coming to
so how did it work? Opener, intermission?
2 guests, and then they take like a 15-minute intermission. People go to the bar, take a pee, get booze, which in a way it's better. You know, you sit on the fence and you're like, what should I do? Do I want to be up there and watch people pee? Listen, I'm gonna fucking pee. If I'm drinking, I'm fucking peeing. That's part of the thing, you know.
Right.
So, you know, and it was just different. Like,
have you ever had a show with an intermission before?
Yeah, I've done big theater shows with intermission, but this was a little small. Like, I didn't do great numbers. The second show, Saturday, was sold out. The early show was like maybe 100 people, and maybe Friday was 100 people.
What's around Reno? Where else could they come from?
You're close to San Francisco.
Okay.
You're close to San Jose. Did I ever tell you how I fucking ended up in Reno the first time?
No.
I didn't say that to tell you that story?
I don't think so.
I'm in San Francisco. It's 1985. I don't even know fucking Reno exists.
Sure.
All right? Nobody knows Reno exists. I'm a young kid. I just knew the big cities, and I was insane. This is why I was listening to this AC/DC. If you watched last night, I posted AC/DC, that last album with Bon Scott. Mm-hmm. And down the block from there, there was a hotel. I lived in the Tenderloin. The Tenderloin was San Francisco's worst fucking neighborhood. I mean, terrible. I saw a guy. I woke up one day and went to Original Joe's, and I saw a crime scene that was just horrific. Like, and I grew up in New York City.
Did you still go to Original Joe's?
Fuck yeah! I went 2 weeks ago in San Jose.
You walked over them?
I don't care if they make a wall of hummus. I will go through it at Original Joe's. Even a wall of hummus won't fucking keep me away from that fucking place. And I hate hummus breath. Right? So I go. It was horrific. Like, the blood on the floor looked black.
Oh,
and it was everywhere. It was in puddles. Like, I never saw anything like that. San Francisco, they don't fuck around. I saw some good fist fights on the street. I saw some good...
good fist fights.
Oh, old school fist fights. You know, drag them down, head through fucking glass windows. That type of shit where you're just sitting there going, fuck.
Yeah.
If I get into a fight on the street, it's on. I mean, it was on. Let me tell you what I saw there. There's different... You know, when Michael Vick got arrested and he spoke about the dog... just so you motherfuckers know, I ain't fucking around here. And when they talked about Michael Vick and the dogs, they exposed it as something of the black culture.
Okay.
They said that dog fighting, like for Spanish people, chickens, whatever the fuck they make, roosters fighting.
Yeah.
Roosters is a fucking cultural thing.
Yeah.
When you go to Mexico or Cuba or any Latin American state, To gamble, they got 8 horses. They had a horse that they would have ate it already. They would have had a horse. So you have these little chickens and people fight them, right? I know they have them up in Calabasas. They have them in different locations around East LA. You go to a fucking rooster fight, geez. Fuck yeah. Well, you got 10 million Mexicans. What do you think they do part-time? Disneyland? Fuck it. Sometimes you got to get 2 chickens and put them together. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't got enough money to go to a fluffy fucking thing. How much does it cost? How much is it to promote a chicken fight? Have you considered that?
One flyer?
No, 2 fucking chickens, a backyard, some beer, some tacos. That's it. What's it cost? What do you pay the fighters? There's no salaries. Right. There's no insurance. What do you think? Chickens have fucking insurance? They got to show up.
No chickens have cut or the pay-per-view.
There's no pay-per-view. You don't got to cut in the fucking manager and the agent. It's dirt cheap. That's what we are. We make the best of what we have.
See, that's a good market for you. You should become a chickens agent. Just start managing chickens.
Let me ask you something. What if I send you over there to fuck those cocksuckers? Let me ask you this. So, you know, the cultural thing for, I don't know what it is, you know, for Mexicans, maybe it's that, maybe it's things I don't know. But for Cubans, when they get into, you know, when Fidel let Mariel out in 79, people know this because of Scarface. He just didn't let out 100,000 nice Cubans. He let out 30,000 nice people and 70,000 animals. And I'm talking because there was a jail in Cuba called El Morro. El Morro is fucking horrendous. They don't even have bathrooms. They have a hole in the floor in the middle of they have like floors, and it's like VMAC.
Yeah.
Like you're in that auditorium.
Yeah.
Naked. They take your clothes. If I took your clothes, what would that make you, Lee? A fucking animal.
Yeah.
So they created these animals in Cuba. This jail, you know, and in that Cuban jail system, relationships blossom. Cuba has a relationship thing called un bugarrón. Un bugarrón is a dude who dates gay guys, but they go the extra mile. They keep them dressed up.
As girls?
As girls.
Okay.
So I'm on the street all day slinging blow with my chick next to me, and it's really a guy with a wig with hairy arms, high heels, and I'm bitch slapping him. He's running errands for me. He's going home to fucking...
You were doing this, or this?
No.
I was like, what are you talking? Like, this is a new story.
There was an I'm in there. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
What would that happen? But I'm with you.
No. I hung out on this drug corner.
Oh, okay.
I'm walking through I get to San Francisco. I got a warrant in Boulder. The cops are looking for me in Boulder. I take a flight to San Francisco. I get off the bus. I go to the nearest fucking hotel. And I go, let me walk around. I walk around. I hear Cuban talk. And I bump into these Cubans. And I'm like, I'm fucking home. I hadn't been around a Cuban since my mother died in 79. So it's 85.
So when you hear Spanish, you can be like, that's Cuban?
Yeah, I could. Okay. You could tell. And I go back and they're like, yeah, there's 300 of us on this neighborhood. So I would go there every day. The leader was an old man named Puro. Puro was the old man. His hair was white, so they called him the pure one. And that's where you went for advice, and you spoke to him, and he didn't speak no English. And your entry was every morning you had to bring him a bottle.
Okay.
So I would bring him like a little pint of scotch, and he would say, God bless you, and the rest of my day would get going. So now I was allowed to traffic on the corner.
Okay.
So I would bring him his little bottle of booze, and he wouldn't say shit to me. He'd say, listen, when this guy comes, be careful. When this guy comes, he sells coke. So I would go down to the corner and just hang with him. And let's say I see a tourist. You ever go to a town and you see a guy walk up to you and go, hey, you want to buy some weed? And they'll, yeah, come on, let me introduce you. That was me.
Okay.
Like, that's how fucking crazy. That was one of my many hustles. And then I got into selling coke with them and fucking shaking people down with them. It was great. But while I was there on that corner, I had heard about something that my mother used to always mention about, un bugarrón. It's a fucking guy who fucks men, but he dresses them up. And this guy was married with kids, and he had a house in San Francisco. But in the daytime, he'd fuck around with this monster. He had created this fucking thing he had created.
So weird.
And he lived with her in the daytime. So if you wanted to buy coke, like I would have to deal with him to buy coke. Like I would have to buy in those days, he'd give me 20 spoons, $10 spoons for $150. So I could make $50 if I sold all of them.
Okay.
So that was one of my many angles. I would have to go to his house in the morning, and the guy would have his wig on halfway on, and he'd have like a beard, like from not shaving the night before. And if the guy didn't know where he was, one time he smacked him right in front of me. It was fucking amazing. Like he just cursed her out and started smacking his bitch right. And there was no domestic violence. It's like Miss Pat. When Miss Pat was on the podcast, she spoke about how she had a relationship when she was 12 with a 25-year-old man.
Yeah.
In a white community, that's child molestation. In a black community, it's just another motherfucking day. You know what I'm saying? And that's how that life. So for me to see it, like I had heard stories about, men dating other men and fags fucking each other in the ass, but I had never saw a man that dressed up in a suit that was like a businessman, and next to him he had a man with a wig on that I was supposed to bring in here, and you guys are supposed to say, "Oh yeah, that's a woman." It was the weirdest scenario.
So if you said to him, "Are you gay?" He'd be like, "No, I'm not."
No, I'm not gay. I'm a bugarrón. He sucks my dick. But that's their mentality. Okay. The guy sucks my dick. I don't suck their dick. Yeah. He sucks my dick. I fuck him in the ass. That's it.
Okay.
And he sucks my dick, and I come on his wig, and whatever else goes with the relationship. You know what I'm saying?
So how did he find Reno?
So how I found Reno was through. I was on that corner one day, and I had my girlfriend with me at the time, who's the chick I married when I came out of prison, Kathy.
Right.
So, and she's a young girl. We're young kids. We're 21. That was
21.
I'm 20. It's the summer of it's August, maybe September of '85. So what could it be? It was 29 years ago. I'm 51 years old, guys. How fucking old can I fucking be? You know what I'm saying?
22. That's crazy.
So it's me and her, and I kept breaking into. I had 18 occupations, but my main occupation was I'd dress up in a suit and I'd go to the Hilton and I'd wait for people to check in, and I listened to them having conversations at the concierge and the hotel front desk, and if I saw them turn right around, I mean, guys, when I tell you I was a scumbag, I was a scumbag. I would get the keys to the fucking hotel rooms. In those days, the maids didn't have electronic keys, so they open your keys with regular keys and they leave your key in the door. I'd walk by and go, "Hello, I need towels." If they weren't in that room, I'd take the keys out of the fucking thing. Now, the next day, I'd dress up in a suit. They couldn't change all the locks that fucking fast. I had them. So I would come in and dress with a suit. I'd get the Wall Street Journal, and I'd sit. And once I'd see people walk into the hotel and check out, it was all over. I'd count them. Once I seen them go west on fucking whatever street, I'd shoot up to their room and burglarize them. I was fucking nuts, guys. So I would be doing that. I was cashing hot traveler's checks. Traveler's checks were huge. American Express traveler's checks. Because as soon as you lose them, they'll replace them.
Oh.
You follow me? And there's no electronic guide like there's no now with a credit card. I got to swipe it. So if I steal your traveler's checks,
that was your money.
Yeah, that's your money. You just go to a bank and replace them. That's American Express's guarantee. But they can't put a stop hold on the ones you lost. They were individual pieces of paper. They're like cash, $50 a piece, $100 a piece.
By the time they found out, it would have been too late.
Yeah. So I would go to Koreatown or Japanese-town. Up by Van Ness Street, there's a Japantown. I would go to Japantown and use them. The Japanese wouldn't ask you for ID. They didn't give a fuck. A wink is as good as a nod to a blind horse. You got to match the signature on the thing and have an ID. The Japanese store, they didn't give a fuck. So you went into a place, bought a $2 piece of gum, and gave them a $50 fucking traveler's check, and they give you back $48 cash.
Oh, okay.
Do you follow how you fucking make the money there? That's how you. That's the bottom level of the street shit. But that bottom level makes you $500-$600 a day.
Plus how would you find $500-$600 a day worth of it? Like
I just told you. So let's say I went to your room and you left traveler's checks up there, $1,000.
Oh, so you just happened to find them. You didn't have a way to get them all the time.
Oh, I could get them too because people would bring them to me. They were stolen. So let's say I would sit on a corner. People knew I spoke English. So the Cubans, the Mexicans, anytime they got something that they couldn't make happen, they come to me. And I was the middleman. I was there for 50% of the take. You understand? I mean, I was fucking young and crazy.
And the thing is, when people get traveler's checks, they don't just get like $20 worth.
No,
they're bringing plenty of that's their spending money for their vacations.
Okay.
So a good day, you could probably
So I'd have 15 guys out there looking for traveler's checks, and they would bring them to me because they knew they'd get 50% of the dollar. So if they came to me with $1,000 worth of traveler's checks, I would go out and buy shit for them because I had the face, the ID, the fucking suit, and I would give them back $500 or $400, whatever, and I would keep $300 or $400. I'd shop at the same time, but I have to shop in Japan time. In this Japaneseville, there was other places that wouldn't look at your cards. It's a fucking scam, and everybody's in on it. That's why I don't want people at home to think, well, no, everybody's in on it. Everybody knows because those merchants are going to get their money back from American Express too.
Yeah.
Once they deposit those 50s, they're going to go, oh, those are stolen. Hey man, what about the fucking? He bought a camera. He bought a TV set. He bought a house. Whatever the fuck. So I'm on this. I have 1,000 things going on. I have the drugs, that shit. I'm breaking into rooms.
How quickly? Wait, before you tell me about how quickly when you get to a new city are you setting like I can't even imagine.
It took me 72 hours to get.
And you set up a whole criminal organization.
Criminal fucking thing. 72 hours. Wow. You get one person going. You prove yourself, and that's it. You're not a cop. You're in. You're in. And every day people are like, hey, man, it's like when I lived in New York, I would go over to the city and buy so much weed in the city that one day they go, dude, you should help us sell weed. Because people were unemployed. That's what they do in New York City. So you would go to the corner and some guy would go, here's 20 nickel bags at $5 a piece. It's $125, correct?
20 is, no, there's 100 bucks.
Give me 50 of that. Go sell. So that's how fucking people make their money. You sell 300 nickel bags, whatever it is, you make yourself $150. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
$150 is a lot of money for some people. And if they could do that by fucking lunchtime to feed their daughter, whatever the fuck they have, you can't judge them. That's what they do. That's what the fuck they do,
Right.
So I was involved in so many different things as a street criminal that one day the cops were looking for me. I broke into this room. They caught me in the room, but I talked myself out of the cops. But the people were German tourists. And they called the fucking other cops and said, what the fuck just happened? We've been robbed, and they let the guy go. So now the cops are coming to the hotel. So I walk into my hotel, and the hotel desk clerk says to me, the cops are on their way to your room. Get out. Next time we go to San Francisco, I'll take you to the Virginian Hotel. It's now the hostel. And if you make a left down to the main street, and you make a right up a block, there's a bus station. So when I found out the cops were looking for me, I ran for it. Me and the girl, I go, come on, let's go. We got to go. So we went to a bus station to decide what we were going to do. And they're like, a bus leaves for Reno in 7 minutes.
And you're like, fuck it.
Let's get the bus to Reno. It'll give us the time to clear our minds. It was like, I don't know, $8 for the bus to Reno. And they gave you a $10 coupon pack. And you got to eat and shit like that. And then you have a return bus ride. So me and her went to Reno for the night. Like, well, let's get on the bus. Let's go to Reno. Let's take our chances. We'll come back. We got a little bit of cash. We'll gamble. We're on the bus, and we meet this fucking across them. In those days, buses had bathrooms.
Yeah.
And we were right by the back, and there was this little Egyptian dude. I didn't know what he was. I just thought he was a half a Hindu, so I didn't give a fuck. But finally, we started talking. In those days, I didn't know nothing. In those days, I thought there were Cubans, Mexicans, Chinese, Japanese, and Puerto Ricans. That's it. That's all I had ever met. I just come out of Jersey. A couple of Jews, some Germans, some Italians. I didn't know nothing about Hindus and fucking Egyptians and fucking Ali Bhagwan. I didn't know nothing about nothing. I didn't know. I was a fucking dumb fucking kid. So here I am on a bus staring at this Mexican, and he comes over and he goes, no, I'm Egyptian. Sit down. Let's talk. And he goes, you want to get high? I go, sure. So he rolled the fucking joint. That's the first person ever who showed me real hash.
I was going to say, did he have hash?
That's the first person ever that goes, let me tell you what I got. And he opened up a bag, like a duffel bag. This is way before anybody carried a fucking those bags. He carried a bag, and he had a little brick of hash with like wax paper on it. And he pulled the wax paper back, and you could see the stamp. That's the first time I had ever saw a stamp. I had heard about it. He had the fucking block of hash stamped with a gold seal of approval. That means it was good. And he took it, he broke it on the plane, but he mixed it with nicotine. I had never smoked before. They mix hash with nicotine
tobacco,
and a little bit of weed, and they rolled it up, and he lit that motherfucking spliff on the bus, dog. The bus driver had to pull over. I had to puke because I had never smoked nicotine.
Oh, yeah. And you take like a weed hit.
You take a weed hit. Oh, my God. I got pale. My temperature fucking dropped 3,000 degrees. And I remember walking through Reno and getting my thing together, and the kid, I had weed. I had lost the Egyptian kid. It was me and Kathy, and I had weed, and I kept asking people, what do I got? Rolling papers. And let me tell you how, in those days, they give you 30 fucking years if you had weed in Reno in 1985.
Oof.
Weed was so bad that the criminals were even going, please stay, can you get away from us?
Like criminals
like, can you go away from us because you're going to get arrested and you're going to put heat on us. I remember I was going to a black neighborhood in Reno, like outside a liquor store, going, who's got rolling papers? And they're like, don't even talk about that shit around here. That's how crazy even rolling papers were in 1985 in Reno.
Wow. Yeah, because when we went to Vegas last week, I was trying to pretend like I wasn't high because I had heard that Nevada is really not cool with weed, but apparently now it's okay.
Lee, listen, When you're high, nobody gives a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Where's Tony Bennett at? Let's get this day started right. Little Tony Bennett, we'll get to my man.
Well, thank you for having me on. This is beautiful.
I bumped into you at the jiu-jitsu party yesterday. Raph has a very popular podcast, which I did, and I just wanted to get him on. And I joined the Jiu-Jitsu BJJ Jiu-Jitsu Journal.
Yeah.
I got on there.
What'd you think of it?
So far, I like that I could. So far, I can't figure out how to write the techniques in there.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I'm confused about, but I like that you could put your calendar dates in there.
Yes.
And you know how many times you trained in a month, and then the notes, I've been writing the techniques that I'm learning. So that's...
it's a site put together by one of our friends, bjjtrainingjournal.com. It's basically like a log. You know, every sport now is telling you, log your shit. If you're running, use this Nike watch, all this bullshit. But Amici had this really cool idea of not only tracking the days that you're going, but also a tap tracker where you can actually count how many times you beat or lose to somebody. Like, whatever motivates you. You can do it technique. You can send a technique to your friends. So it's really, really cool. We were really big proponents of it when he told us about it. And the other thing is, he's an upstanding guy. Anytime you get somebody who you, know is a good human being, you want to get behind that when they're doing good shit. And I remember the first time he showed it to me, I almost didn't want to tell my co-host. I was like, I don't want him to know this because it's really good. And if he finds out, he's going to use it. So I'm just going to keep it on the secret for a little while. But, dude, honestly, and maybe you feel the same way, but when I update that shit, it'll show you how many days you've been going per month. Or per 60 days or per 90 days. And it'll show you in rankings for jiu-jitsu. So it equates them. It's like, oh, you've gone once a week. That's a white belt. You've gone 3 times a week. You've made it up to blue. I'm now up to 5.16, and I'm still at fucking brown belt level for there. And I'm like, how many fucking days do I have to go a week to get to fucking black belt?
Yeah.
I mean, these people need to have a life and actually not train jiu-jitsu. One day off maybe. But, man, it's changed a lot of my game. So, for me, I love seeing that this month. It was 5 days a week. So that even, as you know, when you're gigging, trying to get out there to do this shit is so hard to find the time. But it's a nice reinforcer. So
I know that you don't have much. He's just a friend of ours. It was weird because when I signed up on the site, he sent me a personal email. And he goes, is this John Evans, Joey Diaz? And I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, it's great to have you on the site. And one thing I was having problems with that I was doing in every other aspect. For me, I've done this in every other aspect of my life because I consider myself not an intelligent person, is that I write everything out, especially when it comes to stand-up. Yeah. Through stand-up, if you're not looking at those jokes analytically and going, wow, that word doesn't belong in there, you're really not doing stand-up. It's kind of weird. And I didn't do that for 15 years. So I really wasn't doing stand-up. And it's weird, when I first joined jiu-jitsu, my goal would be just to survive. If I can make the class and not have a heart attack and not leave in an ambulance, I did okay. What I learned, I could give a Frenchman's fuck what I learned. Yeah. I just don't want to die today, that's it. And I never thought about writing. And then I would go home, I'd go to a class, and I'd go to a town where they go, want to roll? Yeah. And I would see an opening for that move that John Evan taught, or Marcelo, and I grab the leg and do this, and all of a sudden I get choked up. And I go, what did I do wrong? Well, I didn't write the move out when I learned it. So I started running home after my gigs, maybe a month before we had our little meeting, running home. Wouldn't even take a call, wouldn't even call anybody. Sometimes I get in the car and I have 3 missed calls. Fuck it. When I get home, I'm going to drop my bag and write down what I learned, step by step.
So left leg here, right hand.
Yes.
Right hand.
And here, switch your hips, move your left knee under his armpit, pull his body over, and now you could open up the fucking leg. I mean, just little things that and I still do it. I still go home and miss a fucking point and go to class 2 days later and fuck it up like I was doing Thursday. Thursday was the most interesting class I've ever been involved with because I never had so much problems with a move that involved your feet.
Yeah.
It involved our feet, and we could not get it. I think one of us got it, and the other guy would do it, then we would mess it up again. Yeah. And it's just little things like that make the difference, whether you're going to pick up a guy that's 100 pounds heavier than you, or you're going to use or you're going to bench press him. There's techniques that they teach you that you could maneuver a guy that's 80 pounds bigger than you if you stick to that technique with the momentum that you have going. But if you miss that little inch, you're just going to put more workforce onto you, Yeah. Like the other day when I was trying to move you and that fucking caveman around. That Zach. He's a fucking caveman.
He
you
is.
can't move that motherfucker. You know, he's a wall of brick. So
You know, it's funny, as you mentioned this, so any good comic should always be writing down shit. You've got pen and paper right there. I'm a huge fan of moleskins. Look at this right here. This is actually, it doubles as a log that I used to use for jiu-jitsu. This is all the way back from like 2012. And I went to visit a place, and I would do the same thing. You see, it's like as you got shot in on, move arm, back of head, and through the neck. Pay me hands is what we used to refer to that. You know the?
yeah.
I don't know why, but the first time I heard "pay me hands," I was like, "Got it."
Yeah.
That was the easiest thing anybody has ever told me. But and doing it on here just became so hard because this became where I do my comedy. So I would think, oh yeah, you know, I'd write a joke here, no problem. It got to this point where I'd be like, oh fuck, joke goes here, skip 5 pages, put training here. And I would look at this, but not as religiously as I would as something on the computer. So when I found that website, I was like, this is a game changer. This is gonna, you know, and I'm not great at jiu-jitsu, but I have what I like to call, and we'll talk about this, I think, in a second, but like a comics work ethic where I'll put in the time. I'll show up. And there's something about comedy and jiu-jitsu that is very similar in the fact that you suck for the very beginning. You know, you're open mics, you're doing all this shit. You think you're probably good, but you're probably not. But you continue working at it, and you develop this muscle of getting better. So for me, I would just go home, write the shit down, and before you knew it, I found that there are things that I was better at, not great at. And it's a matter of chaining those things together for me. And that's why when I fucking go, like, beating people is like secondary. I'm hugely competitive with myself. And training partners, I want to make them get better, help everybody do that sort of thing. But for me, if I'm improving from where I came in, that's the competitiveness that I like, that I walk in and I go, oh shit, I was better than I was when I walked back in. So, you know, John was showing us some great half guard stuff last week, the Thursday. It was tough, man. I mean, you know, the funny part is I think you understand this. When somebody just shows you it and it looks like super simple, they just go, what? You guys didn't?
They do it real fast.
You didn't do it? You guys can't do that? That's crazy. I don't know why you can't do that. You've been drilling it for years. And I get this expectation like, okay, what the fuck, hand here? I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, I never did jiu-jitsu, but I wrestled for a bunch of years, and it was a big difference between a good coach and like a coach who could teach you what you're doing, because that's, I'm sure it can get really frustrating, especially when you're teaching white belts, even in jiu-jitsu. I'm sure the guy who teaches the white belt class must have a couple weeks at the beginning of each new class, like, what the fuck? I hate white belts. But it takes a special person, I think, to teach like the moves
patience.
like that. Yeah.
Patience.
I mean, we lucked out. I looked for the better part of 2 years within the Valley, going to every place. And I could find things that I liked about certain places, but I never found somebody who had my style of teaching. And then I stumbled on the jackpot between at Valley Martial Arts Center. We've got a guy named Marcelo DePaule, and he works you to the bone, but he strips you of all of your strength doing something we call Marcelo Madness, which is high-end cardio and some CrossFit in there too, so that you have to depend on the technique. You're stripped of all your strength, so everybody's kind of same level, and if you know the technique, you're able to beat somebody. And then on our morning classes or our afternoon classes, we have John Evans, who's All-American Captain America, if you would, who like never ever says the following, like, you can't do it. John Evans is this guy who just is like, oh, well, that was really good, Raph. Jesus, I mean, you know, you did a great back roll, and now you're doing this, and you're doing great. And the thing is, he's not bullshitting. Like, I know a bullshitter when I see it. So when he's telling you this, it's a good encouragement, and he's not telling you the technique is right if it's not. He's telling you this aspect of what you're doing is great. So when I found this combination of this and the people, I was like, fuck yes, I've got my spot. And they just celebrated 3 years yesterday. So
it's funny. I took my wife yesterday.
Cool.
I took Mercy, and Mercy jumped around and jumped on the mats. And when I got in the car, my wife goes, you know, Joey, I can see why you come here now. Because I really get it. Because I really get it. I go, it's your little escape. And I go, it's 2 days a week.
Yeah.
It's 1 hour and a half that I go and nobody cares about comedy and nobody knows what I'm doing this weekend. And that's so important to me. You know, and she told me, she goes, I wish I had, but I could see her looking at the pictures and she's like, I'll put mercy in something like this. I go, you know, my life was completely different as a child when I did martial arts. Don't get me wrong. I was still a fucking savage, but I belonged to something. And I belonged to something that, and I don't mean to use this, I'm not saying about you, I was around good people. I wasn't around the people I was around. I was around, in those days we called them geeks. And what we did was it was amazing. I had these two lives. I had this life that I played basketball and I cursed with these guys and we got into fist fights and, you know, we smoked a little bit of pot after the games. And then I had this life with these white kids and these Spanish kids that nobody did drugs. These guys didn't even talk about that. These guys wouldn't even consider raising their hands to people. They were very decent, and our adventures where we worked out. Everybody had a basement. Everybody's mother had a basement. And you put your gis on, you swept the floor, and you fucking kicked the shit out of each other. And then you went and ordered pizza. It's a weird thing when you're a child.
Yeah.
And on Saturdays, we'd take a bus. We'd each take a bus and go into New York into a place called Honda. Honda, at that time, Honda Unlimited, I don't even know if they're still in business, was one of the biggest martial arts supply stores that you had ever seen. It had floors. 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 You ever go to Valley Martial Arts Center down the corner? Yeah. They've been there since 1960. And you go in there, and it's a museum. If you really like that, they have pads and pictures and nunchucks and stars and Japanese ointments for your hand and you know, fucking everything. And that's what Honda had. So we would go in there and go, wow, look at that gi. Oh, I'm saving up for that. You know, oh my God, look at those nunchucks. Oh, we're saving up for that. It's and I would hang out with kids that delivered newspapers to save up for nunchucks. And then the next day I would go hang out with kids who stole the newspapers from the machines and sell them to make. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? It was a different work ethic. And I was between both. I was in a rock and a hard place. I loved hanging out with my geeks. Mario Diaz was a geek, a Cuban chemistry geek. But at night, he was a Fujao Pai Kung Fu guy. And his father was Cuban. His mother was Chinese. So he'd go to his basement, and he'd beat us up and then talk to us about his chemistry set. And he was a fucking geek. We used to call him a Stein. Because he was Frankenstein, like whatever, like like he made potions. Yeah. We used to call him Stein. Because he, Diaz Stein. Because he made potions and shit. But meanwhile, he'd fuck your world up with trip. And he was a sweeper. This country forgot to sweep. The sweep was huge. I don't know why nobody's sweeping in the UFC. You kick somebody 3 times, the 4th one is a sweep. Yeah. And next thing you know, they're in the air. This guy was a sweeper. And he swept you. So he'd suck you in with the spinning back kick, pa-pa, from a distance, pa-pa. And then once you got closer to him, bam! And next thing you know, he was spinning and you were up in the air. And I remember going in there, like years later, I bumped into him and I was all drugged up and he never judged me. He gave me a hug. And I go, Mario, can we go pee? And can I pee in your house? And I went into his house to pee. And he goes, come on, let's go. And I remember looking in the basement where we used to fight as kids. This was, I grew up in Mario's house between the ages of maybe like 9 and 14. I fought in his house. And this is maybe when I was like 18 and fucked up. And he knew I was fucked up. But he let me in his house to pee. And I remember walking in that room and smelling that room and seeing all the holes in the wall that we had to cover with posters because we would put each other through the fucking walls. And those, a wall, it was nothing in those days.
Yeah,
drywall. Yeah,
a wall was drywall with a hole behind it. So if I go to kick, in those days I'm like with one of those power side kicks, and you move, my foot would go right through the fucking wall. I don't know how many times Mario's father drove kids to the hospital. I have no idea how many times Mario's father, 11 o'clock at night, had to get up and drive. I knew for a fact he drove a kid once for like an arm. Mario busted his fucking arm. And the guy was hanging there with his bones sticking out going, this is how tough this kid was. I don't need to go to no fucking hospital. I don't need to go to no hospital. My father broke his arm. He didn't go to the hospital. The kid was talking to us. That's how tough he was. So it's really weird what it does for me. any place when I walk into martial arts, especially Valley.
Yeah.
Valley, I was scared shit dog, I'm still scared.
How are you scared?
I get a note. I got a note yesterday from somebody. I got 2 notes yesterday. I got a note from a kid that said that he joined jiu-jitsu. He works for the Cincinnati Reds, okay, as a clubhouse boy or something. He joined jiu-jitsu, and that there's times he drives to jiu-jitsu, looks in, and drives the fuck away. That was me for the first 90 days of that place. You don't know how many times I drove to the front and said, "There's nobody here." Bam! And I would leave.
Yeah.
And there was fucking tons of people there. And then another kid wrote me yesterday that he got, his brother bought him something for a Regan Machado thing yesterday in Carlsbad or something. And he goes, "I didn't want to go. I had gone to class Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I had gotten beat up." And he goes, "So I went to the Hegan seminar yesterday, and it was the best thing I've done for my life."
Good for him.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Bro, I get scared. In the beginning, I was really scared.
I'll tell you, anxiety is a huge thing. I remember when I first started, for me, and maybe it's the same for you, I don't know, but I like connecting with people. So if I connect with people really quick and I form a good bond and I feel like I like the people, I can chill there and I can be fine. Because the thing is when you start off, you're terrible and you can't reach them on a technique level yet. Like you can't connect and say, "Oh man, that was a great sweep that I did," or "I know this transition." So you don't have that there. You've got interpersonal stuff. So my role in making me feel comfortable at the very beginning was to crack jokes and just walk in and like talk about how shitty I was. I was like, "Man, that was really shit." And the people who are in jiu-jitsu are such, you have to believe it. You have to wholeheartedly believe you can become better. So there's this whole psychology of, no, you can do it. So when I would go in there, I'd make jokes about how shitty I was. They're like, "No, you're great." And I was like, "But let's be real. You choked the shit out of me in 2 seconds." And they just start laughing. And I was like, all right, now once you get people laughing, they're on your side. They want to help you and they want to get there. So at first, anxiety, terrible. But I would force myself. I would just literally walk in, even on days when I was feeling low or I didn't feel like I was at their level. I would just be like, "Fuck it," I can make them on my terms. And the thing I loved about Valley Martial Arts is when I walked in, I was greeted. I could see the students. I loved the space. And when I interacted with the students, they weren't meatheads. They weren't stupid. They weren't overtly super nerds. I mean, they're nerds, but they weren't combative nerds. It was just a friendly environment. And having that connected it makes the hugest difference. And now when I go to other gyms, I see it a lot more. I see a lot of people who are so open. They recognize me from the podcast or from being some idiot that they know on TV or something like that. I don't know, from whatever things that we're doing. And they're open. They go out of their way to be nice to us. And it's a truly great feeling. And I know that now you've got people who are offering to have you come roll with them. And I know it's the same thing you find when you go to those places. And I love it. I love going to interact with people now.
It's funny that you and I have been talking a lot about comedy and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for my comedy experiences, I would have quit jiu-jitsu last July.
After how long?
2 months.
It was 2 months in July, okay.
Because it just wasn't going nowhere. It just wasn't going nowhere for me. Even today I've been doing it and I've seen a bit of improvement.
I'm gonna stop you
not
here.
For the improvement,
Yeah.
We all want to do flying arm bars,
I the weird part is I don't know that other people gauge it. You've had John Evans on, and you've had you had Kyle on, and at different points of your journey on here. But I don't know if your listeners and your viewers know how much you've improved, and it's drastic. It really is, and you see it. And sometimes this is the best thing for me too, is you don't know until someone confronts you and tells you you've made improvements. And for me, watching you do your journey, there's shit that you're doing, and this is one of my favorite notes, and you need to know this. John Evans told me this the other day. He was just like, "You know what? I'm really happy with Joey Diaz. When I tell him to do something, he doesn't say no. I go, try this. And he does it. And he goes, even if it's hard for him, he does it, and he makes really good improvements on it." And I was like, dude, John Evans can talk about any student and make an example out of them, but he chose to use you. So I think that was stuff that you needed to know, and I think it's good to know that kind of benchmarking that you're at.
You have to have a trust.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers me more when somebody who needs help with comedy comes to me, takes my time up. I bump into him 3 weeks later, and he's doing something completely different.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn from you. If you know about podcasting, this is what I know about. Well, Joey, how the fuck? Who said you? Listen, I get on stage every night. You don't. Let's leave it at that. If I needed help with the computer, I come to you. Open your heart and listen to me.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get somebody to do that.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get somebody to say, when John Evans has me hold him sometimes and go, switch your hips. Guys, I'm 300 pounds. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't switch my hips and just land on a hip. You know what I'm saying? It's like Alejandro's a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah.
A guy from John Jock, a purple belt. Last week he was teaching me a movement. He goes, before we go any further, have you ever rolled on your shoulder, Joey? No. Let's fucking do it together. Did you watch that last week?
I love that shit.
And he picked me up and rolled me on my shoulder, and it was an inch from going, pop! I felt it right here when I was rolling on it. I felt the 300 pounds. I was an inch from it going, pop! From it just twisting and breaking. But he took me to a different dimension, and I did it. When somebody tells you, when somebody loves you, and you know when they got love for you, not some guy that goes, hey, come here, go punch that dude. No.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when a motherfucker got love for you and he calls you and goes, come here, do me a favor. See that guy, man? Go up to him and fucking punch him in the fucking mouth. There's no question. There's no what. What did he do to you?
Yep.
What did he do? I want to know. Go. Trust me. We're going to get this motherfucker cracking. It's the same. And I take it back to put your foot there. Jump up and down. You're the if John tried to tell me about comedy, I go, John, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. But John's telling me about what I know this guy knows about.
Yeah.
So I have to trust him. You have to trust the people you're involved. Nothing is worse than going to a class, and you've seen this, where a teacher teaches an arm bar, and there's always one jerk off that said, well, I learned it this way at a different place. I'm going to do it this way. Try it my way.
Yeah.
Just fucking shut your fucking mouth and try it this way. You might put both of them together, and that's where the art really is, of taking a little bit of Raffy style, a little bit of fucking the Flying Jew style, a little bit of my style, and putting it together. I want people to come to me and say, you got that from Raffy, didn't you? I want Rafi to pull me aside and go, you motherfucker. You stole that move from me, but you added the armbar to it at the end, you motherfucker. Rafi, you going to be mad? Not at all, because you're a real artist. You're a real jiu-jitsu guy. That's what real people do. This is what this is about.
Do you know what I love to do? I love to teach people, especially if I've caught them with something, I like to teach them it and go, this is exactly what I did. Because I say, I don't want to beat you at this anymore. I want this to be harder for me. And I want you to know exactly what I'm going to do. Because it's harder if you've taught them how to do it. That they started doing it. And truth be told, one of the first things I remember teaching you was like a cross collar to kind of maintain position. I'll be damned if the next week you weren't doing that shit to me when we're jockeying for position. I was like, this motherfucker's doing it. And
at least
I couldn't be happier about it.
You couldn't be happy. Do you remember you and I went to, listen to the story, you and I went to have a drink one night and do comedy in Hollywood at a place.
Right.
And we seen a hot chick behind a bar that I knew. Mm-hmm. Remember that girl?
Yeah.
Remember when she walked away, I go, look at this fucking dummy. And what did I say? This fucking dumb cunt didn't listen to me. Because she's bartending.
Yeah.
How hot was that girl?
She's pretty hot.
Doug, this bitch was being touted out of Chicago.
Okay.
This bitch was a waitress that was a part-time comic. And somebody from the industry walked into Zany's, and she was doing an open mic, and told her, when you move to L.A., you contact this office. And it wasn't a guy. It was a woman who saw her from, like, Innovative Agency, and she was casting it somewhere. So she calls. She sees me at the comedy club. She goes, hi, you've done all these movies and all this, and I just want to ask you some questions. Now, between you and me, guys, in my heart, I wanted to fuck this girl. But at the time, I think I was doing drugs, and she was very sweet, so I took it I looked in her eyes, and I go, this girl really wants help. And on a Saturday, I woke up fucking hungover from a hangover, and I met this girl after snorting blow or whatever, and I met this girl, and out of my own pocket, I took her to lunch and sat with her for 4 hours and broke down stand-up and what she had to do. And when you look that good, don't sleep with guys, all the girl. And then, you ready for this? They were doing a movie in Chicago. The fucking chick called him and said, I got you 3 days on the movie in Chicago. This chick was making waves out of Chicago guys. She had a scene with Usher. She did a scene with Usher where she kissed him, and this chick had a chance. And all she needed was 6 minutes of fucking comedy and to shut her fucking mouth. Then when she came here, I met with her again and the fucking girl that she was living with. And we went over comedy and where to go and, set a punchline. And she went to the bookstore and bought stand-up comedy and, and she was doing spots. I mean, it was amazing. And then one day I see her behind the gym. And I go, how the fuck are you? Did you go down to the improv? Because she's an improv girl. No, my friends told me to go to college, whatever the fuck this comedy thing was.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck it was. Like, whatever plan we had discussed and the helper, she spit in my face. No. And by the way, you were wrong about that agency. My girlfriend told me, and I'm sitting there going, your girlfriend told you. You're look at this fucking face. This is the ugliest fucking thing on television, and I'm getting television work and film work, and you're telling me that your 22-year-old girlfriend told you. End the conversation. Yeah. When's the next time I see you?
Like a year ago at that bar?
Behind the bar, bartending on a Monday night at the one that used to be Acapulco on Sunset, where they do comedy on Mondays, and they do it's a sports bar now. Happy Endings. I see her and she entered the realm of bartending. She's the hot bartender chick in Hollywood. She was engaged terrible. And she was going to get married, and that's her life. And because she didn't fucking understand that, you know what? Maybe I'm not fucking Dane Cook, but the kid looks the way he has and has survived in this. He's doing something fucking right. I always look to the guy that's doing something right.
You're right.
That's who I want to fucking hang out with. Whether he's not liked or whether I don't like him or I don't like his body. When I sit at jiu-jitsu and I don't know nothing, when I walk into jiu-jitsu, first of all, I leave everything in the car. Yeah. I don't even leave it at the door. I leave it in the car, which means there's no ego, there's no Joey Diaz, there's no comedy, there's no nothing. I go in there, my mind is completely open. If I see Kyle do a hip escape a certain way and you do it, I emulate it. Because it's working for them. He has fucking 10 stripes on his belt. I have one. You understand me? That's always been my mentality. Yeah. I take things for what they are. This girl spit in my face. Like many others. I've had 100,000 people that have looked at me and said, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay then, do what you want to do. I'm telling you, do this. I just had a guy 2 years ago that argued with me at a diner about a movie he wanted to do. And I'm like, bro, if you do that movie, if you sell it, they're going to add the character to it. You know, the female character, the love interest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's telling me, no, they're not. That I own the script. Bro, I'm telling you, they're going to add, you have too much dick in here. This is coming from somebody who's a non-writer, who's just seen 1,000 movies. You ever seen a movie by the name The Departed?
Yeah.
Why was that chick in The Departed? What was her point in The Departed? The psychiatrist chick. What was her fucking point? I will sit here until you tell me her fucking point in the fucking... What was her point?
She was hot.
Okay, my point. Anybody else have any other movie where we don't know the reason why that girl is there, but she's fucking there? Yeah. Anybody else? That's what they do in Hollywood. They love that thing. Yeah. It's like that school you go to that says, no, you need to start by the closed guard. We don't pull guard here. You need to... Sometimes you got to do what the fuck you got to do if you got to make a fucking plan. Sometimes you got to make a left to make a right.
Yep.
You understand me? So, I don't get it. I was telling this guy that I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking asshole. And I'm telling you, you got too many explosions and too much cock in this movie. There's got to be a love interest. A girlfriend has to die of cancer. Something. She loses a tit. Something has to happen here. The English patient. Rocky. Why was fucking Adrian in Rocky? Who the fuck knows? She's a retarded woman. They put her there. She had a dog. Who the fuck knows? But don't sit there and tell me, Joey, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sure enough, he sells the thing for half price to some Iranian fucking terrorist company. And they even the Iranians were like, where is the love interest? Even they fucking knew it in their fucking language. So he calls me back. He goes, dog, I don't know whether I should take the script back. I go, any studio you take it to, I'm telling you, it's going to ask you for a fucking love interest. Yep. And I'm no Pulitzer Prize winner. I just seen 1,000 fucking movies. We all name one movie that you watch that you go, why the fuck is she here?
That's why Megan Fox has a career, essentially.
I'm sorry, I get emotional.
No, dude, that A, needed to happen. B, I'm glad it happened. C, I'm as furious as you are because, and again, comedy jiu-jitsu overlap. As somebody who, I don't think I'm naturally talented at that sort of stuff. I just know I work fucking hard.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I hear that somebody just blows that shit away, nothing's more infuriating than that.
Nothing. Fucking.
Oh my god.
I was at the open mat 2 months ago, and there was a heavier black belt from John Jock. You ever see that guy? He's bald head, little chubbier guy.
Yeah.
This guy came over to me in the middle of my huffing and puffing. He goes, "Can I talk to you for a second?" That guy goes, "I gotta tell you something. I'm gonna tell you what John Jock told me. You can jump up and down all you want. You can get people in headlocks. You gotta lose the fat around your stomach because you're whatever's there. What's that thing that helps you breathe?
Lungs?
Chlorophyll, the other thing in the middle that you tap into when you do the breath of fire and
Diaphragm?
all that. Whatever, the diaphragm." He goes, "No matter how you cut it, you got to lose that fat around your stomach because your diaphragm." I giggled, shook his hand, and I knew what he was talking about. Yeah. You know how many people would take offense to that?
Yeah.
Lee, when I talk to you sometimes and I fucking get mad at you, you take offense, but I'm not lying to you. I'm your brother. I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
I just get infuriated because you're sitting there looking at me like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking. That's when I get hot because that's how I was raised. When somebody who knows what they're talking about, you can't take offense. Mm-hmm. People take offense. Mm-hmm. You know how many people have come up to me and says, "You're a great comic. You got to stop cursing. You're this." That's their opinion. I love it.
Fuck off.
But I don't take offense to it because I know where it's coming from in their heart.
Yeah.
I know some people who may be cute and say something. There's some people in jiu-jitsu who are cute, but very, very not really.
It's hard to think about that at the beginning, though. Like, everyone, like, even just like something like that, I could see it. Even if it's the nicest person in the world, it kind of feels like an attack. Like, you get, that's something I try to work on. Is I get defensive quickly sometimes.
Me too. I get defensive.
It's hard not to, but it's just to know that, like, if someone came over and told me, like, I'm trying to lose weight. If someone came over and told me, like, "Oh, you get to lose weight around your stomach," like, yeah, I know that, and like it might offend me. Like, just thinking if that had happened to me, like, it probably would have offended me. And it's true, but it's just it's not. It's why the people didn't listen to you. It's their friend probably told them an easier way.
I like when somebody's very honest with me.
Yeah.
And I know by the tone of somebody's voice when somebody's very honest with me, and it really impresses me about a person, and it gives me motivation when a person comes to me from the heart and says, "This is," and looks at me and says, "I'd like to talk to you, my son. Not for nothing, Raph, but when you put your arm there, no! If you talk to me that way, I'm not going to talk to you. Go, Raph, I need to talk to you about something, dog. You've already gotten submitted 4 times with that fucking stupid wing every time it goes up. It needs to go away, Raph, okay? And you'll look at me going, where are you attacking me? No, I'm your brother, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can't keep fucking doing that. Put the wing down, and he can't. If you put your base down, he won't butterfly you. Put the fucking base down. What the fuck? How long does this take?" And you'll go, sometimes people need a kick in the fuck, an old school kick in the ass.
Yeah.
I can't go up to him and embarrass him, but I can pull him aside and go, "Dog, what the fuck is it with your base? Put your fucking hand." There's different things that you could work with people.
And I like getting that feedback.
Me too.
I'm
I like
a huge constructive criticism person. Like, I don't like somebody to just be like, "Hey, fuck you."
Right.
Be like, "Well,
that's the wrong
all right,
way."
Whatever. But if somebody comes up to me, and this is something I learned, I work for the Tonight Show, and I used to work with audiences. So basically, you'd have people who, and this is beautiful, when people would come see the show, there's a little thing that says first come, first serve, right? But everybody thinks they're important, especially if they're on vacation. So we have to capacity fill. So that means that we have to do capacity plus 10% just to fill a main audience, okay? So if you do the math, studio used to hold about 400 people. So that means usually on a daily basis, if we're doing our job right, we got to turn away 40 people. So I became really good at just giving people 5 minutes of my time and going, "You have 5 minutes, go." And I would just stay stone silent, and I'd let them make their point. And sometimes, I could understand. I was like, "Man, that really sucks. I really appreciate where you're coming from." But when people would just come up to you and be like, "Let me tell you something, okay? I'm from Rhode Island." And I go, "Excellent. Rhode Island is a state in the United States. Congratulations." But you'd get all these people who would literally tell you where you're from. Like, imagine if you went to Vaughn's and they ran out of your favorite diet soda.
They do it at Vaughn's. I worked in retail. I worked at CVS, Radio Shack, movie theater and a couple restaurants, people will do that. Like, I had a guy pissed off at me because we didn't sell snow caps once.
Yeah.
Just like the amount of the way people talk to people is just ridiculous.
And it's ridiculous, it's rude, it's not necessary, but would you imagine somebody coming over to you and being like, hey, we're in Glendale. I came all the way from Burbank. Who gives a shit? We're out of it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes people give you vouchers to come back and get something else.
If they were nice, you would have.
Yeah, at the Tonight Show, we'd always be like, if you can't come today, we'd love to have you come back another day. We understand that you gave
Get
a lot
here
of your time.
early, stupid.
But here's the thing. They'd be yelling at you because they can't read. And so there's like this weird tolerance that I have where if somebody is giving me constructive criticism, I just kind of let them talk. I let them say their piece. And then at a certain point, I go, thank you. And that's usually the one thing I try and do in jiu-jitsu is I let people tell me what they need to tell me, and I try not to make excuses. Because you can make an excuse for everything. And sometimes people just don't know what the fuck you're going through. Like, sometimes people will be like, why can't you do that? And I go, because my back fucking sucks. I don't know what else to tell you, dude. But you take the constructive criticism as best you can. And it's tough, but it is an art in itself, just learning how to do that.
But yeah. That's very true. Fuck.
What's the matter? You're high as
fuck. Do you want
Let's give some shout outs.
Okay.
How about a shout out to my man Giancarlo DiTamo? He sent me some fucking homemade slippers his grandma made. Fuck yeah. Well, I look like Ferries Wear Boots. That's what I thought about, Ferries Wear Boots by Black Sabbath. I'm going to wear those and people are going to start coming into the windows. But I love you, Giancarlo. And I want to thank Freddie Correa and his main man, Sammy. Freddie opened for me in Reno last weekend. Very fucking funny. Had a joke about he installs cable, and one of his jokes is about going to a guy's house and the guy tries to hit on him and he pushes the guy down. And I tell you, he had some brilliant shit in there. It wasn't what I'm killing it. It wasn't what I'm saying it is. But his buddy Sammy helped me sell tickets. But I'll tell you what, this guy Freddie, man, is just a great guy. He was at the show in Vegas.
Oh, cool.
Freddie, he was there.
Okay.
Freddie was there, and he had a fucking Flying Jew shirt. And every time I see him, he's got nothing but love and support. He gave me a card, so I just want to send him some love to Freddie, and I will definitely be seeing you again and working with you again, my brother. Let's give a shout out to my man Miles, Raul Prado, Joe Aaron, Joe Calderon, Jimmy Pitzinger. You know I love you, cocksucker, Jimmy Pitts. Noah Borley, water boxer, who I'll see Wednesday night, and the rest. JR, fucking the guy up in fucking Buffalo, my man Leon in Germany, you bad motherfucker, and all the rest of the Death Squad crew. I love you, cocksuckers. I'll see you guys Wednesday at the Ice House. Lee, look at the fucking shape of you.
I'm pretty high.
I'm gonna have to balance you out. You want another Chibo Chew? You want another one of these fucking devil? What do you got? What do you got going on today? Why can't you eat a fucking Chibo Chew?
I did eat a Chibo Chew.
Why can't you eat the other half with Uncle Joe? We gotta kick it up a notch.
No, because I'm already so high, and then I don't. They're fixing AC in my house right now, so.
How was it sleeping without the AC?
Fucking hard.
Was it? You should have came to the fucking office.
I had 2 fans. I was able to do it.
Were you naked?
Oh fuck yeah!
You sleep naked. With
I
your
always
legs
sleep
open,
naked.
Sweating your asshole, the whole thing. Your asshole sweat. Let me tell you what happened to me, cocksucker.
What happened?
Right? I got to the airport yesterday, and I went to the airport bar, and I ordered 2 eggs because I don't like when they give you scrambled eggs. That means they're powdered eggs. Don't do it.
Oh,
don't
okay.
do it.
Don't do scrambled eggs?
No, you want to see the egg yolk. You always want to see the egg yolk at our airport. When we have scrambled eggs, that's why they have scrambled eggs. Like Johnny Rockets. They have scrambled eggs because they got powdered fucking eggs. They ain't fucking 2 whole yolk fucking communist radiation eggs. So I had 2 eggs. So my new thing is I always order, 2 eggs, bacon, fruit, wheat toast, And I ordered fruit, and the fucking strawberries look weird. And I go, are these strawberries good? She goes, they're fresh. And I thought, how sometimes you have fresh strawberries, but sometimes people put sugar on them. It's like a glaze.
Yeah.
Well, I bit 2 of them, and I'm like, this ain't fresh, but I had swallowed it.
Uh-oh.
And I gave them back, and she took them off the check, and, whatever, you fucking fly home. And sure enough, I take a nap, and I wake up to fart, and I fart, and liquids running down my fucking legs. So no. I was sick all last night. That's why I didn't go to the open mat, because if I blow a fart with a white fucking costume on, somebody's choked. Sometimes you're doing jiu-jitsu and you roll over and your fart comes out of your ass because it's been stuck in your rib, and now somebody jumps on top of it and you hear it, and you tell people, dog, I just farted. Take your hands off my neck because it's going to be a long afternoon if you whip dead. And they're like, no, but I was choking that dog. It's up to you. What's coming up to you is going to be deep. Let it go. Step aside 5 feet. I got John Edmund once. John Edmund will keep rolling with you.
Yeah.
If you fart.
Well, that's because he's a professional.
That motherfucker will keep choking you out as you're dying. You're like, I farted, John. He's, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it's a weird fucking sport, but like when you create a tolerance to most of these things, I'll tell you the weirdest thing I had happen recently. So I went to this gym, really good guys, and all of a sudden I'm rolling with somebody, and I'm like, I got this guy in like north south, and he just like, I hear underneath, just muffled, "You smell so good," and I was like, what? Fuck, I don't know what to do. Oh, I had this finished. That was the best offense you could have possibly pulled. He was just like, you smell so good. And he was like, and I was trying to like just ignore it, but he clarifies. He's like, your gi smells really good, man. I go, yep. You just got out of the submission just by doing that because I don't want to finish it.
Dog, that's a nice compliment.
It was a nice compliment.
How fucking bad does a gi? You ever been choked by somebody and the gi comes in and you tap because of the stink of the gi?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Gis fucking stink, and even mine in the back, it's got pounds of sweat in it, and you can't put bleach on it because it dissolves the material. So you got to wash it with your soap and hang dry it. So deep in those threads is your most disgusting sweat. Like, I rolled with people who were great guys, and their gis are brand fucking, well, not brand new, but you could see that in that inner core, those fucking gis get stinky.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really, I have 2 gis I got 2 gis. I'm not getting a new one until I fucking destroy those.
Yeah.
Because it's, and I don't even fit in one. You know how much jiu-jitsu gear I have in my house?
How much?
I have a whole side closet.
Just
really?
jiu-jitsu stuff?
That people send me.
Wow.
Or give me when I go to a town. Pants.
That's awesome.
Fucking gi tops, gis. People ask me, what size are you? Every size is different. It's like when you buy a t-shirt in Texas, a 2X in Texas, and you buy a 2X in LA, it's 2 different X's.
Oh, yeah.
You buy a 2X in fucking Dallas, it's huge. You buy a 2X in LA, you can't wear it. You're like, what the fuck? What I do, gain weight? It's completely different.
It is completely different. Have you been to like a venue where there's a lot of jiu-jitsu people, almost like a UFC or something?
Yeah.
When I went to a jiu-jitsu expo, and I had more people commentate on me being fat. Me, like, I'm not really fat, but like, I'm jiu-jitsu fat. Because these guys are all fucking in shape. So when they're asking me, and they're like doing that whole Taylor thing to you, they go, what are you, about an A2? And I go, guys, I'm a little bit like an A3. I'm a little bigger than that. And they just go, nah, you're an A. Yeah, no, you're an A3.
I'm an A7. They don't even make an A7 in a lot
Jesus.
of companies. But the best gi I have, I bought at Surplus on Laurel Canyon, the boxing place.
Yeah.
It's an A6. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want that gi, and I went back to get another one. They don't have them. The A6s they have don't fit. They got a white guy making them now. They fired the Mexican. The Mexican was like, A6, give him some extra. If he's like my Uncle Carlos, he's got some extra pounds. You know what I'm saying? The white guy's like, fuck no.
Oh, yeah.
32 inches waistline. This is where we go.
On the same side, I have this Vulcan gi. It's a hemp Vulcan gi. It's great. The guy, the CEO of Vulcan, we were interviewing him.
Scott.
His name is Matthias, I think.
No, but what's on the mat? It's Scott, right? Is that the same?
Oh, Scotty. He's on the mat. This is a different one.
Okay.
But Scotty is a beast of a human being himself. I love the shit out of Scotty.
He sends me gi.
Yeah,
his fucking top don't fit. The pants are great, and I tried to hit him back, and he's like, Joey, you gotta lose some fucking weight. But his gi fits. It's the shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his gi fits, goes around me.
Scotty's the shit, man.
It's the shoulders that are too tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
no, man,
Scott's a good dude.
Scotty's great.
And they said he's got a score in Vegas. So we were in Vegas last week.
Awesome.
I got a call Friday night going, Scott said, stop by the store. He's got a bunch of shit for you. You know me, I'm an asshole. I leave at 7 to fucking.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, I mean, but, the good news is he's around, and he's always... I mean, Scotty is one of the best people in the community because he cares. Like, he actively is sponsoring athletes. He refereed Metamoris. Like, dude's fucking legit. He was on our podcast and just... this is... I'll credit this, and a lot of people do this for us who are too good for us, but Scotty was on our podcast, does a great interview with us. And then I just happened to catch something on the Facebook, and I saw that he created an ad just to promote our podcast. And I sent him a note, and I was like, did you just create an ad for us? Like, you don't have to do that. I appreciate it. And he goes, no, I like you guys. I want to help you out. And I was like, fuck yeah, Scotty, just good people. That's when you know. You're like, God damn it, this sport has so many good fucking people. But yeah, no. The Vulcan gear I have, I didn't even get to try it on. This guy, the CEO of Vulcan, just handed us this A2. And I'm like, oh, dude, but I'm like an A3. He just goes, put it on. I put that thing on. You would have thought a fucking Italian fucking tailor had made it just for me. It was the best feeling when you just put on this gi that just comes out of the package and was like, this fucking fits me perfect. I've never been happier. My fiance saw me go into the mirror with my podcast co-host, and we both got one, and she was like, you guys were the biggest girls I've ever seen, because you're just like, this can miss and match, and I can wear this, but you can wear this top and this bottom. No, this is amazing. This is so good. And she literally started getting out her camera and taking photos of us, and I was like, babe, I want to say I'm embarrassed by that, but I'm fucking not. You post that wherever you want. I'm not ashamed. That is real. That is real fucking shit.
It's amazing that a lot of people at home going, Joey, why the fuck are you guys doing a podcast about jiu-jitsu on a Monday morning? It's not really a podcast about jiu-jitsu, man. It's just, we're just doing a podcast, and I want to take it a different place today, and choose the topic. And the whole thing about jiu-jitsu that it is what it is for you. And this is with anything, guys.
Yeah.
It could be Muay Thai, it could be Shaolin Kung Fu, it could be Shotokan Karate. You know, there's a lot of shit that goes on in your life. There's a lot of shit that goes on in your life. And I know one thing that's always worked for me, and it's always made me a better person. And the reason why I go over there and roll with guys 20 years younger than me and get beat up is not because I want to fight in the UFC, and not because I want to beat Lee up. It's not because I want to be a tough guy. It's because when I was a kid, when I stopped doing, this is a proven fact. This isn't somebody telling you this shit that he heard. When I got out of martial arts when I was 15 years old, everything changed in my life. Everything changed in my life. I went from being one type of person, a human being, to being the other. And if you listen to the story I was telling you, those little geeks kept me together. Those geeky guys with their forms and how they'd get together and their moms would make tuna sandwiches and we'd all practice our forms in unison. Yes, I was one of those guys. You know, there's custom, what do they call the swimming? When everybody does
synchronized.
What's it called? Synchronized swimming.
Yeah.
You know, when you do a form sometimes in class, you synchronize. Me and 3 other half of fags would get together in the sunlight with our gis on and synchronize our forms. But guess what, guys? That showed me character. That showed me a work ethic. That showed me everything I had to do for the rest of my life and everything. Listen, everything you're gonna do, there's work ethic and there's sacrifice and there's practice and you know. And you know, how many times are you going to throw a kick? Yeah. How many times are you going to throw a kick from the time you're 5? You know?
Yeah.
It's just, how many punches do you throw? Even Lee just threw 2 punches.
I'm trying to remember.
Let me see. Throw a punch for Uncle Joe.
There's a white belt Taekwondo form. That
right.
I almost remember.
Block, punch, turn, block, punch, but 3 down the middle.
The end is the spin. I don't remember. It's like punch.
Right. Then you
kick,
back your leg.
But then there's a spin. I think it's right block, left block, and then you spin to the new side. You have to do it four edges. Fuck, that just brought me back to like when I was 7. Holy shit, I'm high.
It kept me together. And what my point is today, that this podcast has a lot of different subjects, you know.
Yeah.
And the main subjects is addiction, you know, fear, anxiety, you know, the shit that we deal with that nobody fucking talks about. It's like a very little secret.
Yeah.
You have anxiety. So what do they give you? They give you Valium, and then 3 years in, you're hooked on fucking Valium. Do me a favor, man. You really want things to change for you. I'm not going to say you're going to become a millionaire. I'm not saying it's going to save your relationship. I'm not saying a lot of things. Sign up for something.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want it. Just sign up for 2 sticks. You're embarrassed. You're too fat. You don't want to put a gi on, whatever the fuck it is. Get sticks. Get a night. Go somewhere 2 days a week where you mingle with other people beside those fucking stiffs you have in your life. Mm-hmm. Beside the sister-in-law that calls you with a problem. When you go to these martial art places, you become part of something. And you don't have to, nobody's going to beat you up. Nobody wants you to be karate man. Nobody wants you to go 8 days a week. You go when you can, as long as you keep going. You belong. These people will call you and say, hey, man, is everything okay? You haven't been in class for 3 weeks. Oh, I broke my toe. Oh, that happened to me. Put ice on and get your fucking ass back into class, you fat fuck. You know, that's what they said to me. You know, These are little things. So that's why I'm talking about jiu-jitsu today. For me, it could be anything. I don't give a fuck if you join ballet.
Yeah.
As long as you join something and do something 2 days a week. You know, somebody contacted me last night on an email that they're trying to get pregnant and all this, and she's having anxiety. Anxiety, again, is a brain fart. Somewhere something isn't connecting. So you don't have the time to go to a psychotherapist, and you don't have the time to go to an acupuncturist and a nerve specialist and a doctor. I'm telling you, the immediate Band-Aid is getting out of the house and doing something out of normal. Take that phone and leave it at the fucking house. Leave that phone at the house. Give yourself 1 hour with people you don't know. Whether it's a yoga class, have fucking Rafi choke you or throw you in the air for an hour. When you get in your car, you're going to feel so satisfied. That's why it makes you a better person. Because when we walk out of jiu-jitsu, I'm not worried about who I choked out. I can't believe I made it. I wish somebody could see me walk out of the school at 2:30 on a Tuesday. I've been here since 12:15, rolling around with fucking men that with their geese stinking, with dirty feet and shit, and I love it. How crazy can I be? Yeah. That's my point today, people. Go out of the box. You're always bitching that life isn't changing for you, you can't do nothing. Get the fuck out of the box. Leave your cell phone at home, all those bad habits. Go to a fucking anything, a YMCA, and just walk around. Just sitting there and watch what these people are doing. Watch that 74-year-old guy on the treadmill doing 15 minutes. Then he gets off and he stretches. That 74-year-old guy is doing something. He's alive because he thought about those 15 minutes all night when he was in bed the night before. He thought about how he's going to go to the Y, and today he might do 16 minutes because his back hurts. That's what keeps you alive. Yep. That move that you go home and think about, that, oh my God, John Evan taught us that move. How does it go? And next thing you know, you're out of your bed with your sleep apnea mask. You don't know how many nights Terry's watching TV, and I'll take my sleep apnea mask off, go outside and go, Terry, give me 5 minutes. And she'll get on her hands and knees, and I'll try to get her to move. And she'll go, Joey, what the fuck? No, I just wanted to see where to put my foot. I love you. And I go back to bed. That will keep you alive 2 days. That'll keep you alive till you have to go back to class again.
And you know what? I wanna just add on that. You being in entertainment, you know that you hear the following more often than not. You hear, no, not you, not this. You're not good enough. You're not the right type. You're not what we're looking for. All of these things. And that shit will mess you up, especially in entertainment. Like, you have to have a pure, clear head about yourself. You got to be confident. You got to know those things. And for what jiu-jitsu has done for me in this time, it has given me that. Like, people can tell you, you're not this, you're not that. But it's like the best block you can get. So you want to talk about therapy. This isn't just therapy. This is career. This is giving you something to strive and push forward that other places can't. Being around jiu-jitsu people are the most encouraging people I've ever been around, like bar none. When especially you go and you do career stuff for, entertainment, you hear all those negative things, but you go to a jiu-jitsu class, somebody comes over to you, they're telling you, they're like, no, you can do that. You're great. You can do this shit. And it's like a support system that isn't even part of the thing. You just think you go there and you choke people out. But you get more than that when you go
more
to
than that. You really do. What have you gotten from that fucking gym that you've been going? This is your 4th week.
Yeah, it's like
what
4 or 5
feel?
weeks.
You talk to anybody in there? You ever mingle?
No, well, a little. I told you when I first went in, it was like my first week, and Paula was there, and I could barely do half an hour, I think, on the elliptical, I remember I could barely do half an hour on the elliptical, and she always did 45. So like, what am I gonna do for the 15 minutes? I used to go to the bike when I couldn't do that, and she left, and I said, I just want to do 5 more minutes, because I had a goal to hit 15 minutes on the bike too. And there was this bigger black guy sitting next to me, and we both had our headphones on, but as I got up, he took his headphones off, and he went, you hit that 15 minutes, right? And he gave me like a high five. He's like, I've been coming for 3 months. I used to be 318, now I'm 297, and I don't really talk to that many people there, because I like the people in the cardio floor, but the people down by the weights have been a little bit of jerkish to me. But every time I see a bigger personality, I give them like a thumbs up. And you said that would happen, and there's been a couple bigger people who, like, there's this big guy that always does the elliptical next to me when we when we're in there together. So it's been good.
And how are you feeling? How are you feeling when you walk out of there? Do you feel like you could do anything now that you did that? You were scared a month ago, Lee.
I was
5 weeks ago, Lee.
Well, I hadn't been ever. I had worked. I had done team sports up until my junior year of high school, but I wouldn't work out. I would go to practice. That's not the same as working out. So I had never worked out, and now I've maybe taken I think 5 days off this month. So it's not even once a week. It's like once a week maybe. And I can't say that I'm addicted to it yet. I can't say that I enjoy it, but I feel better after I go.
Hey, that's the price.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the great. I mean, dude.
Yeah, some people say they like it, but I'm not there yet.
I mean, for me, I couldn't do the gym. My brain doesn't work that way.
Well, I had to bring my iPad with movies because Joey, you always talk about losing yourself in the music. To me, I'm just staring at the clock with just music. So I had to have something to watch, but I do feel guilty when I miss the gym. Like when I went to Vegas, I just didn't do the gym.
That's good.
And I feel guilty now that when I miss it, or I'll tell you, on the way home from from the Fluffy movie, Paul and I were like 1 inch away from going to get cheeseburgers. Like we both said the next morning, if either of us had said let's actually do it, we probably would have done it. But it's when we're talking about it, we're like, we looked it up. The In-N-Out cheeseburgers, like 700 calories. We're like, we both worked out today.
A single.
Yeah.
Singles, yeah.
We both worked out today. We ate good for the entire day. It's 10 o'clock at night. Why ruin it now?
But with the sauce, it really kills you.
Yeah. The sauce.
The single without the sauce isn't that bad. It's like 10 points.
Oh no! The double with 700 calories.
Oh yeah. Then what the fuck you looking at a double for? That's the thing. See, that's the problem. I don't want you to stop eating your cheeseburger. But you know that you could always go over there and get a single cheeseburger with a raw onion and without fries, and you're good to go.
You absolutely could, but I can't.
You're good to go.
I can't.
You know what I've been doing lately? Eating half of my meal.
Yeah.
Just to try it.
Yeah.
I've done it for lunch lately. You know what? Half of my meal, and I'm fucking starving. But after 20 minutes, you forget about it. And you go, I could go without this.
Right.
So, it was nice. I haven't changed anything, really. Like, maybe I drank a little bit less. But it was just jiu-jitsu. And the reason why I knew I wanted to do jiu-jitsu, I was like, I just don't want to be fat, really. Like, I don't need to beat people in competition. I just want to be healthy, get a good mindset, and be not fat if I can. And for me, I didn't really change my diet. I still eat kind of what I like to eat. And I dropped 25 pounds just because... And at the time, I wasn't going as much as I was now. Like, I've hit a plateau now. Now it's just like, well, you're going up 5 pounds, you're going down 5 pounds. But it was just because I found an activity to keep me active, to keep me going. So, I mean, it depends on what goals are. But there's always a way to keep, if you want to keep moderation of stuff that you don't want to modify too much. Like, if I see a cheeseburger now, I still have it. But I also now know there's a confidence in, all right, well, I'm going to the gym. I'm doing this regularly.
I'm excited to get to that point because I would love to get to the point where I could just maintain. Like, I figured out the diet to have to maintain, but right now I'm at the point where it sounds bad, but like if I went and got a cheeseburger, I'd be getting cheeseburgers every meal. I'd be getting 3 cheeseburgers, so I can't even get the single. Right now I can't. I stick to the healthy stuff.
But keep it realistic. You know what I mean? Like keep the goals there, man.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to do is keep crazy goals. For me in jiu-jitsu, my goals are super simple. It's like today I want to work on this kind of setup for, you know what I mean? It just is moderation.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let me hit some sponsors real quick here.
Do it.
We're getting to that fucking time, and I got to talk to you people about something that was, I noticed Thursday night. First off, on it for all your fucking ultimate level goal needs, whatever the fuck you want to do. This charter fucking thing is Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain stimulates you, opens up your mind, makes you think. They got a money-back guarantee, 30-day money-back guarantee. We don't even want the fucking product back. Who the fuck does that? You understand? You ever go to a drug dealer and that you do the coke, you taste it, you come back, you think they're going to say to you, well, no, where's the rest? Onnit don't give a fuck. That's how confident they are. I love the hemp force fucking protein, the chocolate, the acai vanilla. I love the strong bone. I'm back on the strong bone again for my knee, and it's been a little better. It swole up this week with the 2 shows, but I've never had a problem with them. I had somebody the other day talking at the jiu-jitsu place about Shroom Tech, that they wanted some Shroom Tech, for me to get them some Shroom Tech. They wouldn't ask me if they didn't like it. John Evans talked to me about the Shroom Tech. Yep. Shroom Tech Sport is tremendous. The other Shroom Tech, what is it? Immune. Yeah. Tremendous. If you're flying, if you're hanging out with a bunch of fucking people, if let's say you hang out with people who have AIDS or they got a fucking flu or something like that, I don't fucking know. I don't even know why. Just, I don't fucking know. Whatever. Whatever. Fucking Shroom Tech Immune, whatever the fuck you need to do. Number 2, Hulu Plus. Let me tell you something about Hulu Plus. I don't think you motherfuckers know that. They just got South Park.
Yep. What?
Yep. They just got South Park.
I'm gonna watch that today.
Exclusively. This is what I'm talking about with Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus is so much more. You get current season episodes every fucking week. Hulu Plus works on any streaming device that you already own. They have niche programming, Criterion Collection, animated, kids. They got original programming. And you know what the beauty thing about Hulu Plus?
What?
You can watch anywhere, anytime, any fucking place. $7.99 per month. What's that, Joey? $7.99 per month. You go look at what the fuck you pay for other fucking conditional bullshit. $7.99 a month, and I'm giving you 2 weeks off on the fucking cuff. Who does that? When was the last time a hooker sucked your nuts and said, if you like it for 10 minutes, then I'll suck your dick? Nobody does that no more. I'm giving you 2 weeks for free on the gratis HuluPlus.com. Why fuck around? Original programming, daily show, binge, whatever the fuck you want to do. Sometimes you go home and you're going to watch one episode of your favorite show and you're wasting. Fuck that shit. Go do jumping jacks, go mug somebody. Once you get 10, 11 episodes in there, you get a big bag of dope, some Chinese food, you get some broad, you lock the fucking curtains, and it's called binge watching. You sit there, you watch 18 fucking episodes, maybe after 9 of them, you get your balls licked, and you go right back to doing what you're doing. That's what Hulu Plus offers you. Go to HuluPlus.com, go to JoeyDiaz.net, go to the Hulu Plus box and press in.
Joey.
Joey, cocksuckers, and get 2 weeks for free, $7.99 a month. What's that again, Lee?
What?
Joey in the box, HuluPlus.com. Stop fucking around with your life, fucking around with entertainment. Hulu Plus has you covered, cocksuckers. HuluPlus.com, $7.99 a month, 2 weeks for free on the cup. That's how I roll. All right, that's it. I got excited. Dollar Shave Club, I love you motherfuckers. If you're a man, a woman, and you're not on Dollar Shave Club, go get a black dick and put it up your asshole. It's not working out for you. You can't be that fucking stupid. Why fly out of LAX when you can fly out of fucking Burbank? My point. $1, $6, or $9 a month. $6 a month. Again, Lee, $6 a fucking month. You get 2 razors sent to your house every month on the first. Tremendous. 2 razors, double edged, without the aloe strip. That's the $9 program, but it really doesn't matter. They got those fucking hand-me wipes. What are those things that wipe your ass?
One-wipe Charlies.
One-wipe Charlies. It's getting hot right now. You're in your car, you see some chick on the corner, maybe she's a professional dick sucker. You're in trouble. Your dick smells like pee. You've been sweating all day. You go in your glove compartment or in your backpack, and there you got one-wipe Charlies. You polish off the helmet. You clean around the nutsack, and your dick is fresh. Who's got that? When she's sucking your helmet, she goes, Jesus, your dick is fresh. It's 4 PM. I've never sucked a clean dick at 4 PM. They usually have lint on it and fucking coins and shit. So Dollar Shave Club has that for you. Dollar Shave Club. Go to the Dollar Shave Club box right now and press in
Church,
CHURCH, and get your fucking deal from Dollar Shave Club. $1 a month, $6 a month, $9 a month. Get razors sent right to your house, to your door. You don't have to leave. You don't have to go to no fucking pharmacy and stand behind the guy that smells like fucking ass. Number 3, EscapePod.tank. EscapePodTank.com for all your deprivation tank needs. These guys, from what I'm hearing, is the best in the fucking business. Everybody who's done business with them is very fucking happy. They deliver. They set it up. They have different type of tubs. They got commercial tubs, industrial tubs. I gotta drink some water. I got fucking out this fucking gummy bear.
No. You do it. You're beasting this shit.
I don't fuck around. EscapePodTank.com. Commercial. What's the rest? Presidential. That's where Obama floats. I don't fucking know. Do black people even float? Anyway, my fucking point is this. Okay. My point is escapepodtank.com. Call my man Jeremy on the 800 line. He's got commercial tanks, residential tanks. No jokes aside, you mention us, you get $250 off the top. Plus, he's got it just off the tank model. It's $150 off. You get like $400 off. You save it. He'll walk you through the steps. I love escapepodtank.com. If you're thinking about a deprivation tank and you're not talking to these people, you might as well stick a hanger in your throat. It's not going to work out for you. Oh boy, that takes a lot of fucking energy.
That was art.
I don't fuck around.
Not at all, man.
I got to talk to you people about something. I don't know. First off, thank you to everybody for your kind compliments and stuff on the Maron episode.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was blown away. I got to watch it with my daughter and my wife. My daughter didn't know what the fuck she was going on. She kept crying. She wanted Wally Kazam on. I'm like, that's Daddy. That's Daddy. She's like, fuck that fat motherfucker. But it was just amazing. I want to thank Mark Maron. I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart, because a true comic isn't a comedian who's funny. A true comic is a comic that is funny, but he also strives for funniness around him, and he pushes it and he strives it, and he helps support it. And when it came to that episode, he gave somebody a complete green light that nobody else will even talk to. Nobody talks to me. He gave me freedom to do what I wanted. He wrote a script, or his people wrote a script. For Duncan, I forget what his last name is, and to see that, I thought about you guys. When I was watching it on the way to the airport, let me tell you something, I was fucked up that night. I ate a whole cookie at like 4 o'clock, and by the time I walked in my car, I called Lee. I told him. On the plane, I just sat in the back of that tube and sweat. I was in 12B, because they didn't have an upgrade. It was one of those Puerto Rican planes that you have to take a bus to. The American Airlines, Gate 44.
Yeah.
It's like Reno, San Jose, Santa Fe. Any of those places you go to, you got to go on that bus. So even after you land and the fucking plane goes 35 minutes, you're on a bus for 15 fucking minutes.
Didn't you tell me you thought the car was taking you to the moon or something?
Oh, my God. I didn't know where I was. It was dark out. The moon was out. I was in the back of this fucking car, and I was blasted. But I cried. I cried in the shower. After the episode got off, I ran in the shower to detour the tears, because I thought about I never had that expectation. When I came to L.A., I always thought I'd be out here for 6 or 7 years till I got in trouble. But the most I'd ever get was to be an extra. I never strived for that, and I saw myself on that thing, and I hate watching myself. I look fucking huge and fat, but that's not what I was looking at. I was looking at somebody who didn't expect that, but I believed a little bit that somewhere, somehow, maybe if I lucked out. Well, I did luck out, and I just stuck around, and that's it. And I'm very thankful that this happened. But I'm thinking about for you people, that if I could do this, you motherfuckers could do this. We all put our pants on one leg at a fucking time, man. And when you look at things like that, when I saw that night, I thought about all the people that actually go to acting classes and really pay attention and really strive for that. I came out here thinking that people were better than me, like everybody was better than me. They came from a Juilliard or whatever. And I'll tell you what, man, this goes right back to jiu-jitsu and stand-up. I got my balls on that fucking stage. Stage time, mat time is the name of the fucking game in this. But the most important thing was, it's not that I stopped believing in a way that I would ever get on somebody's show like that, like a guest star like that. The most important thing is that, yes, anybody could fucking do this. I did it for you guys. This is to show you that fuck these motherfuckers. You can't stop, Lee. Lee, you can't fucking stop. You can't quit. You can't fucking go home. Everybody was in Montreal Comedy Festival. Everybody was up in Montreal. You get invited to Montreal?
No.
Fuck no. I've never been invited to Montreal. They have all these things. For me, my Montreal was Thursday night. Mm-hmm. That was my Montreal Comedy Festival. A half hour of me being with Mark Maron. I've seen a comic help another comic. I've never had a role like that where he just let me go and let me do whatever the fuck I wanted to. So I just want to tell people, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for the support of the podcast. Thank you for always loving me and Lee and my guests. But also I want you to take that for what it was, that you could do this shit. You could do whatever the fuck you want. Don't let them stop you. They could all suck your dick at the end of the week, all right? Fuck them all. You have something that you want to do it. Go for it. Who gives a fuck? If you fail, who gives a fuck? You know how you really fail? If you don't fucking go for it. So end the story. Rafi, who loves you, cocksucker?
Oh, man.
What do you got going on? When is your next show at Flappers?
Next show at Flappers, August 12th.
Okay.
We just celebrated 2 years of early late night over at Flappers Comedy Club. We're a monthly late night talk show, early late night. It is one of the funnest things I've ever put together.
I did it. I had a great time. I had a
blew
great
the
time.
fucking roof off the
Well, I learned a lot. I learned about something different outside of stand-up that people were doing. So it was very interesting to watch from somebody who's always looking for something fresh, you know?
Yeah, and the hardest thing for me is this is been my whole secret to my career is if I don't see it, I invent it. I do it. I put it out there. And I remember going to comedy clubs and you see like comics, if it can get depressing. Like a lot of comics don't have a joy in performing. And for me, it's so important to make people have fun, to get something different for them to see. And the best compliment we always get is when a comic does our show and we produce it and we work with them is they say, you know what, I had fun. And I see you guys have fun every time. And I take that with a great responsibility of always creating, doing something new. If it means doing a fucking song and dance number and standing on my fucking head, it's what we're doing. Like, I'm just not afraid there. And I've got a great staff of writers and performers who do it. So, yeah, Flappers, 9:30, August 12th. If you don't mind, I just got to say a couple quick shout-outs. I'd love to do that. Yeah. I want to shout out my co-host on Verbal Tap Cast. That's Kevin Phillips, who wanted me to echo this to you, and I'm glad I get to do this here. You gave him some advice last week for stand-up. That fucker texts me that, like, Thursday after we do the podcast, and he goes, Raph, I want you to tell Joey Diaz, I fucking destroyed this room. I did it from the advice he gave me. I demolished this room. I went in there. We were like 80 deep in this place in DC. Great fucking audience. Hype. Was giving love to only a few people. He goes, I got up there. I destroyed. They want to give me residency and have to do all this. So thank you for that. And he wanted me to echo that. So that was awesome. Check us out, verbaltapcast.com. Guys, we just interviewed Rickson Gracie. And, I mean, that's kind of the pinnacle of people you can interview. And you know what's funny? This is what I like. This guy's a black belt. Legend in the sport. Even like coral, red and black belt, if you would. But when we interview, it's like nothing is different. Because he's in my world. And you know how when you feel behind when people are 6 or 7 moves behind you or you're ahead of you when you're in jiu-jitsu? For me, I'm like, I think we're on equal playing ground, and you know what? I can get him to have fun. And when I start seeing him bust up, I was like, you know what? This is what I'm doing. It's the right thing to do. So I want to thank him and all the good people. I want to thank Jits Magazine for making that happen. Great stuff from them. We're going to have a feature article coming out pretty soon, and I'm going to tease this right here. Rickson Gracie is one of the people who's associated with breathing. Dude gave me like a 25-minute instructional on how to breathe. Just because he liked the interview, and I think he just had a natural interest in wanting to help me based off of one of the questions I said. It was just like, what does it feel like to be synonymous with breathing? And he just goes, do you have 5 minutes afterwards? And I was like, for you, fuck yeah, teach me all the shit that you know. So he was really cool and doing that. I want to also shout out Marshall Carper. We're doing a really cool book project about jiu-jitsu and businesses. And Joey was the first person that I got to interview. So we're going to be putting that article up, and you guys can check out what the book's like. And if you like it, hopefully check back in, and we'll be promoting that for Days End for that. And to my buddies, Brandon McCatherine, who sent me a text yesterday that I showed Joey, which was, hey, Raph, you train with Joey Diaz. I hate you. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get a picture of Joey, and I'm just going to say, fuck you, motherfucker, from Joey Diaz. And that's it. To my pal Scott Kupka, he's fucking in love with you. He wants me to introduce you so you could smoke out when he gets to LA.
Let's do it.
All right, easy enough. And to you guys here, this has been amazing. I'm really honored that you guys would even remotely have me on, but especially when you guys are about to celebrate your 200th episode. So I feel good to be able to tell this, and I hope you guys know what an accomplishment that is. You guys have so much great love on this.
People at home think that I look for a celebrity or somebody who thinks he's better than us to be on the podcast. I look for people just like us because I want you people at home to realize you can start a podcast.
Yeah.
I know. You know what? I walked in yesterday, seen Rafi and go, what are you doing tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.? That's how fast it was. You know why? Because every time I see this kid, he's working. He's working. I know who's out there trying to get a podcast. Joey, get on the podcast so your numbers go up or whatever. I know who's out there working it. I know who's out there doing what we're doing, breathing it. And I know how to fake the funk because I fake the funk.
Yeah.
I've been at... See, I know you can't fuck with me because I faked the funk. So I know when you're faking the funk and I know when you're working hard. So I want to thank you for coming on a day's notice and being fucking great. And I want, anytime you want to be a guest on here to promote, you got an open door, man.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming on at 6 o'clock. A lot of people are like, fuck you. You know, a lot of comics, I don't have a career, help me. Well, call the podcast at 6:45. Dog, I don't get up that early. Okay, so obviously you don't give a fuck. I go, Rafi, you want to call in? No, I'll come in. It's 10 to 6. Okay, no worries, I'll be there. When I drove by this one, I go, fucking Ralph, he's not coming in. I go to the back, he's back there waiting like a fucking student with an apple and a bag. So thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
Dude, you know what I mean? When Joey Diaz is good enough, you've got that idea where you've done the same for me, where you came to do my show. And I got to tell you this a week ago. Joey comes to do my show, just offers to do it. I didn't give a shit about promoting this one. I had a big portfolio that I was putting together for NBC. He comes, I get a bigger audience because he's doing my show. We test out the material. I get into a program based off of that response that I got from that audience. And you know what I mean? It's all love, man. You did the same for me on a day and a half's notice when you were at an open mat. So, I mean, of course, when you asked me, like, can you do the podcast? And in the only way that Joey Diaz can, which is, you know, can you do the motherfucking podcast? And I'm like, yeah, you bet your ass I'm going to do the fucking podcast. And it's all love, man. So thank you.
And it was funny because it's amazing how I've dealt with both the Buffers for at least 15 years.
Yeah.
In different circles, through movies, you know, grudge match. I think he did something with the longest yard. He was at one of the parties. It's amazing. It really is just how the Buffers pop up everywhere. You're like Puerto Ricans. You're everywhere.
You know, considering the fact well, I'm Italian. Maybe there's a slight similarity. I don't know. I think you have a better right hook than most of us. But, you know, Michael and I meeting 25 years ago, and then for all the 6 degrees of separation that we created in that last 20 years that I've been managing his career, I'm just mind-boggled. I'm humbled every time I think about it.
Now, where'd you grow up?
I was dropped off. I was conceived in Vegas. I was dropped off in Oklahoma on the 21st, which is my lucky number. It's probably why I like to play blackjack. Then I was there for 9 months. We moved to Dallas, Texas. So real easily, between the age of 1 and 15, I spent half my life in Philadelphia, where my family's all born and from. So I call Philadelphia my hometown. And I spent it in Dallas. And then at 15, we moved to Malibu, which was like culture shock. I'm 15, my hormones are flying. I see girls, blonde girls I've never seen before. All I want to do is lose my virginity and learn how to surf. And I learned how to surf first. I became a lifeguard, Baywatch before Baywatch. And it was an incredible experience growing up in Malibu. Tough experience, actually, believe it or not.
Who did you go to high school with?
Yeah. Went to high school with Dan Blocker's son, who went on to do some work. Went to with not Heather Locklear, but remember the Fall Guy with
Yeah.
Heather? What was her name? But she was, every time she walked through the quad, everybody would stop and stare at her ass. I mean, this girl stopped traffic, right? It was crazy. And she went on to have a nice little career and then a nice little cocaine addiction. Hopefully she came out of that okay. But she did well from there. And there were a couple other well-known people that came out of Salmon High, some politicians. I'd have to think for a second, but I'm not sure. And then, of course, hopefully I have something to bring to Salmon High. I don't know.
I'm going to ask you quite a lot of questions tonight.
You got
first being, where the fuck is Malibu? That's how retarded I am.
Are you serious?
Malibu's the beach and up. Where's Malibu? Like when I go down to Panga Canyon, where is Malibu?
All right, if you go down to Panga Canyon and you turn right, you're in Malibu.
Where's the high school? Like Dean Kane's from Malibu,
okay,
right?
Dean, I'll tell you a funny story about Dean.
Dean
Kane.
and all you guys are from Malibu.
Yeah, I know Dean because my girlfriend, Kim, at the time, Dean started dating her after I started dating her, and then Dean and I almost got in a big fight at a party at Malibu West Beach Club one night when one of his cronies got cocky with me, and my buddy and I called them all out, and that got stopped real quick. And Dean and I still talk about it today because Dean and I are friends. He's a great guy. Very cool man. But Malibu High, basically, there was no high school in Malibu. Back then, it was junior high, and it was across from Zuma Beach, which today is the Malibu High School. In those days, because of the politics, they didn't want to have to bus in people from the city probably the ethnic groups. So instead, we all got bused to Santa Monica High School. Now, I grew up in Philadelphia, and my school was 60, 70% black that I was going to, and I got along with everybody. I mean, I grew up, I'm fine. But a lot of these kids, they go to Santa Monica High, and suddenly they get stood up by, one of the Mexican gang members or, somebody else, and they go through their experiences. They weren't used to being in a multi-ethnic arena. So Santa Monica High was a great experience, too. That was very cool. But now their high school is in Malibu.
To get off the subject, I just recently, it was funny, I did the Fight Companion with Joe, and I was goofing on Atlantic City, and I kept goofing on Buff. I go, Buff is the only motherfucker they sent. even Dana White's scared of Atlantic City, because Atlantic City is no fucking joke.
You walk into the hotel, you're dead.
When you check into that whatever, they tell you as a comedian, don't leave the hotel at night.
It's that bad?
I'm not fucking around with nobody. When I tell you people, they tell you at the hotel. Like when you check in, they're like, you don't leave the hotel at night. Like you just don't do it.
Isn't it like a boardwalk?
Well,
like
the boardwalk is there, but if you go outside the hotel into the street, go stand on the corner for 15 minutes.
Oh my god!
Jeez, because I grew up in Boston, and I came here when I was right around 21, 22, so I could never go there, so I never experienced it.
When I did Joe's last time, he spoke about Camden, how Camden's having a big problem right now. Let me tell you something. They're having a problem now. When I was growing up, that area was real. Pensauken. Mm-hmm. Where's Jack Nicholson from? I forget the name of that town down there.
IMDb time.
Neptune, New Jersey. We played bitty basketball at Neptune, New Jersey one time. South Jersey, Philadelphia is no fucking joke. I don't want none of you people thinking that part, like I said, for years at that Eagle Stadium, they had a courtroom and a jail downstairs to process you during the fucking games. Even crazier than Boston, crazier than New York fans. So it still magnifies. So I can't even imagine you leaving that area at that time.
I grew up in Germantown, Pennsylvania, and Cheltenham Township, and my brother and I my brother Brian, who I grew up with, I would never allow my kid to do this today, but when we were like 8 and 10, we would take the train or the bus and go to downtown Philly, walk through the bad areas. We go to the Franklin Institute. We go to the museum. We go see a movie, have lunch, and we wind up getting home about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And that was great teaching for us as kids because we had no fear as a result of doing all that. I would never let my kid do that today. No way. Never.
I don't even think about it. I could never let Mercy go to a bad neighborhood in my mind. But, what are you gonna... Hey, listen, for years when I was growing up, my mom said, don't cross... Because when I came from Cuba, we lived on 205 West 88th Street. And her biggest fear was Broadway.
Really?
Right in New York, she'd say, don't fucking cross Broadway. Well, as soon as I went out that front and her head popped in, I crossed fucking Broadway. That's what you do. Once you cross Broadway in New York City, your life changes. It's like getting your dick sucked by a midget. You're never the same. You're never the same again. You know what I'm saying? Little midget gives you a little sukkah mink with that big head. You're never the same. You go home, you have nightmares for a month.
They got strong hands too.
Yeah, they got. I know. I gotta call them little people. Fuck that. They're fucking midgets. All right. What do I give a fuck? Anyway, so now you're in Malibu because I always go to Malibu. I did 5 Christmas movies with Dean Cain. And a fucking dog. Yeah, for ABC Family. The dog.
Isn't Dean a great guy?
Dean's a great guy. Yeah. And to listen to his stories, he grew up with Sean Penn down the corner. Shit like that, right?
But that's the way it was for me, too. We had, on Point Doom was Sean Penn, was Charlie Sheen, was Rob Lowe and his brother Chad Lowe. And I had Steve McQueen, who was my friend, living a half mile away from me. And I surfed every day in front of his house. His son and I are still best friends. When I moved to Malibu back then, we weren't rich. We've never been a rich family.
You didn't need to be rich in those days.
No, you didn't. The rich people lived at the beach, which was your celebrities, your movie stars, and all that. In the canyon, I lived a half mile from the beach in Trancas Canyon. A beautiful home. Cost like $50,000 back then. Today, it'll cost you a couple million, of course, because everything's gone nuts. But it's a different world back then. Malibu is still beautiful and spacious, but it's not like it was back then. I thought it was. Maybe I'm getting older. I just loved it back then. I loved it when it was more of a countryside. Everybody knew everybody. There was 35,000 people that lived there. No, 27,000 people lived there when I moved there. So the population's increased exponentially larger.
I did I watched an interview with that dude who played and analyzed that, the little Italian dude.
In what movie?
Analyzed that, the one I did the second one.
In
those days, I was doing sequels. I did all the bad fucking sequels. But I did analyze that. And he was and I did analyze that too, and he was in the one and the second one, and his name was something Vitarelli.
Joe Vitarelli.
Joe Vitarelli did a thing that he left Brooklyn and retired in Malibu, and his neighbor was Sean Penn.
Then he lived on Point Doom.
Is that true?
Yeah.
And Sean Penn used to torture him and say, "Hey, when are you going to do one of my movies?" And he go, stop. And finally one day he goes, "Listen, I ain't fucking around. I need you for this movie." It was State of Grace. State of Grace is
Great
his first
movie.
Great fucking movie,
Yeah.
dog. Nobody's ever seen Gary Oldman in that. All you dumb fucks that are watching Gary Oldman and Iron Man and
True Romance.
and no, he wasn't bad in True Romance. He
was great.
But now
In
like, go see him
Batman,
in Planet of the Apes and
He was one of the baddest
and
mofos
Dracula
you could ever have.
Dracula,
Ever.
fucking The Professional, when he eats a pill and does that shit with his fucking neck. But one of his craziest movies that nobody talks about is a film by the name of Romeo is Bleeding.
Oh my God! What was her name? The woman that she's gorgeous, sexy as hell.
Look at her name. That is one of the craziest fucking movies you will see. I'll tell you what, as your Uncle Joey Diaz will tell you, don't watch that movie at night. That's how crazy. And it's a fucking mafia movie. It's like a mob, a hitman, cops in New York.
Juliette Lewis,
Read the fuck
No.
Read the fucking IMDb. Who's in that movie?
Gary Oldman, Juliette Lewis, David Proval, Will Patton, Gene Canfield, Larry Joshua, Lena Olin,
Yes, Lena Olin. Yeah,
and James Cromwell.
but Lena Olin.
Who else? Dennis Farina. Oh yeah, it's
They're not even on the first page. Though.
yeah. No. That movie doesn't fucking end. That scene in the hotel room. Lena Olin plays a fucking hitman.
Hit woman.
A hit woman.
Yeah.
It is one of the craziest movies you will watch.
And she's sexy
As
as
fuck.
fuck. Yeah, exactly. I got to say it with you, Joey. Sexy as fuck. I mean, you look at her, and you might
I
have
gotta
to,
watch that fucking Romeo's Bleeding.
They don't play it on TV.
They
It's
don't
one of my
need-
favorite
no,
movies.
because it's too deep. It's too. They never played that shit on TV. I think I saw it in the fucking movies, and then I saw it years ago. It was on like Sundance one night after The Exorcist at 3:35 a.m. And I taped it and I watched it 2 or 3 times. And my wife was like, "What the fuck are we watching?" He was married to the chick, the Italian chick that Tony was fucking on The Sopranos. That she hung herself. And The Sopranos.
Wow, I've got to my mind.
Oh my God, that's who he was married to, Anna Maria Scribella, whatever her fucking name is, and he had
Annabelle Sciorra.
Oh, the little
Sciorra.
brunette. She's a
dog.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
had what he was a cop, and he had a hole in the backyard, and he kept saying, "I'm feeding the fucking hole," and he put money in the hole every night that he stole and he shook people down for, and he just kept putting money in the hole. And she left him, but he had to deal with this hit woman, and this hit woman cleaned some clocks on the Upper West Side. She killed Dennis Farina. They were playing cards. Just fucking. If you get a chance, Romeo's Bleeding. That's your little present for the 200th episode.
You know, my dad was a writer, and he said there's basically 15 plots and 150 ways to tell each story, barring any historical reference. But there are standouts, of which this is one, which is not a typical plot that's been told. This is an extremely unique film, and if you're a film buff or you want to see something, I'm telling you right now, you got to listen to Joey. See this movie.
I remember that it opens up with they're both bleeding in a car. That's how the movie opens up.
Because it goes backward.
It goes backwards. So it's this scene where they're driving and he's like, "Help, help." And she's been shot and he's been fucking shot. And they're driving, cutting people off, and there's blood everywhere. And you're like, what the fuck? And all of a sudden it shows them like getting married, eating Chinese food. So it's one of those fucking...
And remember she had one arm? What was the thing in that?
Oh my God.
You remember that?
That's right.
Yeah.
No, this is fucking crazy.
This is crazy. It's so far out there.
Fucking crazy. And I always forget to talk about it, to check it out with fucking Rick. Rick, that's a great movie. Gary Oldman, Dracula. Everybody says, if you take a poll, that Gary Oldman's Dracula is the best Dracula ever made. Fact or fiction?
If you can cut Keanu Reeves out of the movie, yes, it was. Keanu Reeves is probably the worst thing in the movie. And I'm a Keanu Reeves fan. I mean, give me Point Break any day of the week. But, yeah, he was menacing in
How
that.
fucking good is Point Break?
I could watch it
How
every
good is the
seriously.
guy that died in Point Break?
Swayze?
is
I grew up with the Bodys of this world. I grew up with the Swayze characters. These were my bros when I was growing up. Everything in that movie I related to, except the bank robberies, of course. But I mean, they were nuts. Surfers are nuts. Believe me, a whole different ilk all to themselves.
Really?
Real surfers. I'm talking not I like to surf. I'm talking a real surfer. They eat, live, and breathe surfing. It's a whole different society.
And these guys would rob and go hit different beaches to get the...
Yeah, remember that's how they found it in Point Break, because Gary Busey, who was, and speaking of Malibu, Gary Busey was my neighbor next door for 8 years during the Buddy Holly days. I used to party with him down at Trancas, with him, Michael Parks, David Carradine. The Lows would come down when they became of age. I mean, you name it. Anybody lived in Malibu, party this place called Trancas. It was the hot spot. I mean, we got in brawls there. We got drunk there. We did everything you could imagine there. That you don't have anything like that in Malibu anymore. That's when Malibu was a little more quieter, but it could be wilder.
Now, what's this stuff about McQueen you were talking about? Because that's one of my dogs to the fucking end. That's...
I write about it in my book, and thank you, Joey. You read my book, and really appreciate the words you gave me on it. But I had the pleasure of meeting Steve, because when I moved to Malibu, I became friends with Chad McQueen, his son, and we became best friends. And I first met Steve when he walked up with Ali McGraw to his house. It was right after they finished making The Getaway, and they had that really highly profile romance, when he left.
How hot was she?
Hotter than hot.
When he smacks her in the fucking face by the station wagon.
Which he really did. He really slapped
fucking
her.
belted
Yeah, he
her.
belted her.
Watch the scene. We put it on.
What should I put in?
The Getaway.
The Getaway.
Steve McQueen, Ali McGraw. The smack in the fucking mouth.
Sam Peckinpah film, one of my favorite directors.
I remember seeing it in the movie theater. The Cinema movie theater in Unison, New Jersey. As long as you had the money, then you check your ID. And I remember going to see that movie, and Steve McQueen fucking destroyed me.
Mr. Cool.
Destroyed me in that movie. And I got to tell you something. I'm not one for big remakes. The one that they remade
with Alec Baldwin.
The reason today why I like Alec Baldwin is because of the scene in that movie.
Which one?
When he's in jail and Kim Basinger comes to see him.
He's in the Mexican jail in the
beginning. He's in the Mexican jail, and he says to her, blah, 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 and they're talking. And she's like, yeah, I wanted to see my brother, spend some time with the kids. And in one of those sentences, he goes, can you do me a favor? Can you get me out of here? Can you really? And unless you've been on that side and you've asked somebody to get you out, his tone. There's a tone you use. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to come in and say, when people come visit you in jail, when you've made bail, they come in, they check you out, and then they ask what happened. And now you got to tell them a story, and they start crying, and you start crying, and then they're trying to tell you how they're trying to put money together, or, whatever. But the way he cleared the story, the way he cleared the air, and he goes, can you get me out? Can you do that for me? Can you do that for me? That was just perfect.
Well, you know what? He was perfect casting, because stepping into McQueen's shoes, redoing that. For those of us that saw the original Getaway, I used to argue about sequels because I thought, why the hell are they making this movie? I've seen this a million times, but I forget about the fact there's younger generations that don't see what we see. But as far as Steve is concerned, he walked into the house. He said, hi, how are you? We chatted for a bit. He said, you're always welcome here. Just call first. And he would give a party when he first moved into the house. And what he did was he would take little $5 and $10 bills and $1 bills, and he'd stick them underneath things throughout the house. And he'd sit back, and anybody that bothered to take the dollar bill, he would never invite back to his house. He didn't trust anybody. And he was just a wild character. He'd come down on the beach with a 6-pack of beer and tell us stories. And I remember when he did the Towering Inferno, and I said, hey, should I go see it? Is it good? He goes, no, I just did it for the money. Don't waste your money on that film. It's like he was just...
I went to see that in the movie.
It was... It's dated now, but it was fun.
I had like an all-star cast.
Well, it was back in the days of the disaster movies, Airplane, and then... Not Airplane, the comedy.
Poseidon Adventure.
Poseidon Adventure, yeah.
Started with Poseidon Adventure, then the one that shook. They did a fake earthquake movie. Earthquake, yeah. And then there was 3D in the movie theater, so the speakers are so loud, people would come out and, oh my God, it shook, get the fuck out of here. The fucking speakers were loud, you dummy. These fucking moments. There was no fucking like HD, nothing. They just put the fucking thing to 20, and everybody in the movie theater was like, oh my God, it shook. Didn't shake.
I'll tell you another thing about Steve, not just, we can get off him in a second, but he was a very tough guy.
Right.
Bruce Lee would come over and train him. I never got a chance to meet Bruce. I met him after that thing, but he still has the plaque. Chad still has the plaque that Bruce Lee awarded him a ranking in Jeet Kune Do, and it's probably... Steve McQueen's stuff is going for ridiculous money right now. I'll give you an example. Let me not get too far ahead of myself. He would have Chuck Norris come over. And Chuck Norris, and he'd either go train with Chuck at his dojo, or Chuck would train at the house. And Steve would spar. He would get in there and get nasty. They wasn't like casual EPOM point sparring. They would spar. Because I used to train with Pat Johnson, who did all the choreography for Live and Die in L.A. and Mutant Ninja Turtles and all that.
Excuse me. Another movie that they've been playing lately.
Which one?
To Live and Die in L.A.
It's a good movie.
At 7 o'clock every night. To Live and Die in L.A. Tremendous movie.
Tremendous movie.
Listen,
Fast-paced.
guys, Uncle Joey isn't a fucking joke thief. But if he hears something that's brilliant, he drops it. There's a scene, again, John Turturro is the smuggler for the money. Who's this fucking printer? To Live and Die in L.A.
Willem Dafoe.
To Live and Die in L.A. is one of the greatest fucking stories ever told that America. If they should remake a movie, that's a movie that needs to be ranked. The only problem is they'll fuck it up.
They'll screw it
fuck
up.
it up like they fucked up the mechanic. They took away the patois from the mechanic. Charles Bronson was a 51-year-old hitman. That was the patois. There was nothing to blow up. He was killing you the old-fashioned way. He would go in your files and see if you had a heart problem. And then he'd light the house on fire, so you had to run out in the middle of the night. You'd die of a heart attack. Stupid shit. You understand me? They fucked it up. But To Live and Die in L.A. is about counterfeiting. You ever see a movie about counterfeiting, Lee?
No.
Never. They don't even make them because the government don't have a fucking shit. But these motherfuckers put together a movie with who's the printer?
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, and the guy from CSI, the original guy, is the cop, and he's amazing.
And he was also in the first Hannibal Lecter film called Manhunt.
And he's also in Thief with James Caan
Right.
at the bar. He's the one that
Yep.
grabs James Caan, and James Caan shows him his gun, and he backs off. Who do you fucking think you're dealing with?
Probably the most bow-legged actor in Hollywood.
The bow-legged motherfucker. And then in To Live and Die in L.A., he's very bow-legged.
He's fast, though.
He's
He was moving.
fast as shit. It's about counterfeiting. Fucking tremendous. The music is tremendous.
And good. It's sexy, too.
Sexy as shit. I'm telling you, it's been on, I don't know what station it's been on, but me and my wife watched it, and I taped it and watched it one night, and I go, how many times am I going to watch
Just
it?
do a search, everybody. Do a search and watch this movie. It's
John
good.
Turturro, when he comes to visit him in jail, as he's leaving, he goes, I'll try to get you out. And he goes, yeah. Hey, don't forget about me. That's why I get that line from him. He goes, don't forget about me. He goes, don't forget about me. He goes, I'm going to get you out, and I promise not to come in your mouth. Fucking tremendous couple. John Turturro is another great one.
And Willem Dafoe
And Willem Dafoe dropped
menacing as the bad guy.
Tremendous.
So on the thing with Steve, though, aside from all his enjoyment of martial arts and stuff like that, and that's partially the reason I got into Tang Soo Do, which was Chuck Norris's first fighting style out of the Air Force in Korea, was due to that, the emphasis I got back then, because Tang Soo Do was a big thing back in Malibu. There was a lot of martial arts back in Malibu. All we did was surf, do martial arts, spar, and fight. We had a great time. And another F word that I don't want to say, I'll let you say it.
Fuck.
Yeah. So Steve had tons of motorcycles and cars, and it would blow you away. And when he passed away, the family, Chad, they sold it off to pay a lot of the estate taxes. And I'm talking when he had an airplane hangar in Santa Paula with over 100 motorcycles, 2 double-winged airplanes, toys and artifacts. I'm a big collector of memorabilia. Toys and artifacts from Buck Rogers, you name it. Anyway, they sold off a bunch. They got like $15 million back then. Now they're selling his stuff, and it's going for ridiculous prices. In the movie he made, the race movie, it's escaping my mind right now. Le Mans, which he put a lot of his own money into. It almost broke him. But the fire suit he wore underneath the racing suit just sold for $800,000. The watch he wore, which is Tag Heuer, just sold for $850,000. Right now, they're selling his 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB. They expect to go for $8 to $12 million because it belonged to him. They just sold another Ferrari that sold for $6 or $7 million. The actual value on the Ferrari was only around $2, give or take. But because it belonged to Steve McQueen and the provenance that went with it, it's going for ridiculous money. His glasses in the Thomas Crown affair, the blue Persols that he wore, which Persol made a Steve McQueen model of. You can buy in the Persol store today.
Damn!
Sold for $35,000 in a recent auction, right here in L.A. It wasn't by Chad. It was by his ex-wife who put up the stuff, named Barbara Minty, the last wife he was with when he passed away. But nobody knows this. I know this, and Chad knows this. When you walked in his house, there was a wicker basket beside the front door. There were 12 pairs of sunglasses. They were all the same in there. So they were not the original glasses that were in the Thomas Crown affair, as far as Chad and I could figure out. But somebody still paid $35,000 for the sunglasses because he wore them. It's crazy. So, it's just amazing. Memorabilia is a big thing.
Nobody in this country really, right now, remembers Steve McQueen.
If you're 40 and under...
And they give him the respect, unless you're a fucking movie buff or a tough guy buff. And when I came from Cuba, it was Charles Bronson, Steve McQueen, and James Coburn. Clint Eastwood was starting to bust in the scene, But those are the first 3 gangsters I remember. Remember the Valachi Papers? Mm-hmm. That's the first Charles Bronson movie I seen. Then I saw right away Death Wish. Then he started, after that.
Remember one of his first films was Vincent Price called House of Wax.
I don't remember that.
House of Wax.
I don't remember that. I was too young.
They remade it, but it was the original.
And then...
look who died last week, one of the greats, James Garner.
James Garner, yeah.
Yeah, fabulous actor.
But he was... What was the show he had?
Rockford Files.
No, before that, he had a show. Oh, shit.
Which one?
That Bruce Lee appeared on. How's that one?
Yeah. That was Bruce Lee's first TV appearance.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Who the fuck you think you're dealing with here?
Tied to IMDb, Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee's first fucking TV appearance. It's funny if you know anything about that. There's a book out that I probably read.
Conflict? Cheyenne?
No.
Sugarfoot?
No.
TV, not film.
Angel? Yeah, I'm looking at TV series. Maverick?
No.
What year was it, do you think?
Right after Maverick.
You'd probably be better looking at Bruce Lee's IMDb.
Nichols?
No.
Okay, I'll look at Bruce Lee's.
There's a book out. I read it in Boulder. In 1986, I read it in Boulder. Before I got locked up. And it was a book. It was basically about Bruce Lee, but it described a chapter about Steve McQueen and Bruce Lee's relationship. I'm 51 years old, and about a year ago I joined Jiu-jitsu. I've been kickboxing and karate all my life and all that shit. And last year I said, that's it. I'm sick of striking. I want to do something different. If I'm going to stand up, I want to start thinking.
Right.
From the videos I see of jiu-jitsu, you got to... Now, I hang around great jiu-jitsu guys. Yeah. And it took me all these years to finally go in, and I love it. And I'm pissed now that I didn't get into it when I was 21.
I'm pissed, too, because it was
all furious.
About being Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris when I was a kid.
Listen, when I came from Cuba, there's a What's Happening on Ari thing where I talk about, before, when I was a kid, Chinese people walked around with their head down. Bruce Lee came along. He was the sponsor for all immigrants, and I was an immigrant. So now we had a fucking spokesman. When Bruce Lee came into the fucking thing, this was not a white dude anymore. This was a Chinese dude. I was Cuban. I qualified. Cuban, Chinese, were immigrants. Something about Bruce Lee gave us hope. Gave me hope as a kid. And so I read everything about him. To this day, I'm a big Bruce Lee guy. But one of the things that said that, at the end of the day, Steve McQueen loved Bruce Lee for what he stood for. He wanted to be Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee wanted to be Steve McQueen. They each had what they really wanted deep inside. Like to Steve McQueen, when you're an actor of that level, you're like, don't go see that fucking movie. They know at what point they're like, it's all over. I'm just doing it now for a paycheck. But, at that point, that's what the martial arts was kind of keeping him alive. If you watch, they say that people who really knew, they say that McQueen really walked Bruce Lee through the Chinese connection.
Well, his advice to Bruce Lee was the same as what he used to give Chuck Norris, was that, acting is all about, it's not what you say, it's the face, it's the reactions. It's, if you look at Steve McQueen in every film he made, even down to when he was with Yul Brynner in The Magnificent Seven, and they're on top of the stagecoach as they're riding up to Boot Hill, when he was riding shotgun. And Brynner's talking, and Steve's like shaking shotgun shells and putting him in, doing everything to steal the scene. He used to drive Yul Brynner crazy, right? But he was really big on that. It wasn't all about how much dialogue I got. It's how much I can get across in my face and my movements,
I did Arliss with James Coburn.
I love that show.
And he was telling stories about when he was in Magnificent Seven, how they hated Yul Brynner.
Everybody did.
The deal was to steal the movie from Yul Brynner.
There you go.
Who the fuck was this fucking dude who danced with pants on to come from some foreign country and steal this movie from us? So they all got together. So I guess they put him up in a hotel somewhere in Santa Monica Boulevard by in Hollywood, West Hollywood. And McQueen, Coburn, and George C. Scott was a boozer. He wasn't in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But he was there with them. Would get hammered and they call Yul Brynner's room all night. You fucking dancing and hang up on him and shit. And the next day he come on and said, somebody kept fucking calling my room all night, because they didn't want him to steal the movie, I love all those old time stories.
Well, I love the old time stories because I love the old time actors. I mean, today Hollywood, you got idiots, sex taping a fat ass like Kim Kardashian that become famous. I'm into talent. You know, and in those days, people train. And in the Hollywood machine, when you work for a studio, you did everything. You learned how to dance. You learned how to sing. You learned how to act. You did everything, you know. And it was a machine that built movie stars. And today, people become famous on TV for nothing, you know, and they equate themselves to major stars. I don't, personally. But like yourself, you've met a lot of actors, and you work around a lot of actors. You probably know the first rule is you don't always believe what you see on screen.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's not the
Oh,
just
my
don't.
God.
I'm trying to say it in a nice
Right,
way.
yeah.
But McQueen was, you know what McQueen really changed was the Thomas Crown Affair. That was a true acting performance of him to dress up like that and to do all that stuff. Otherwise, he hung out with stuntmen. He rode motorcycles every friggin' day. He couldn't stand the whole Hollywood lifestyle, you know, beyond the women. And he's just a real guy, you know, which I respect.
Wow, fucking Malibu. The fuck, Lee? You don't even know who Steve McQueen is.
I know who he is.
You ever see Papillon?
No.
Ah!
Well, I can know who he is. I haven't seen everything.
You ever see Bullet?
No.
Which created the greatest.
Wait.
That created all the car chase scenes in film.
I saw the
Yeah.
chase from Bullet. We didn't watch the movie.
Here's a thing for you, Joey. The jacket that he wears in the poster for Bullet, which was a basic tweed sport coat, right? It's valued at $800,000. Chad has it. They put it up for auction. The bidding went up to $720,000. It didn't meet the reserve, so it didn't sell. But somebody bid up to $720,000 for a sports coat because Steve wore it. Steve gave me one of his sports coats when I was a kid. I threw it away. I'm ready to go bada bing. You know, it's like, what did I do that for? But it wasn't in a movie. But you know, I have a poster of the Thomas Crown Affair that they gave me that hung in his house that I still have hanging in my house. You know, that's going nowhere. And you remember the kissing scene with Faye Dunaway in the Thomas Crown Affair?
Yes.
The 360-degree angle, camera angle they used, which, think about what he created. I mean, okay, Travolta got Western dancing off the ground and disco dancing off the ground. McQueen, that screen kiss changed screen kissing. Kissing became different after that. The car chase scene in Bullet changed the way car chase scenes were made after that. You know, then it went on to the French Connection, which took it to another level, and then another level, you know, and now we have Fast and Furious and TGI changing everything, which I am and am not a fan of.
It's amazing how the French Connection was my first taste of real movie.
Gritty.
And the only reason, like, I fought tooth and nail, I was going to go watch that. And I was maybe 6 when that movie came out. And the commercial was the French Connection, filmed in New York, where it happened. And they'd show the guy getting shot at the subway, falling back.
That scene was...
Yeah, that scene where he goes backwards. You're like, Mom, fuck the Love Bug, bitch. Remember the Love Bug was big in '69, and Jan Michael Vincent made a movie. I remember going to see that, The Strongest Man in the World.
Can I tell you?
Come on now.
I'm going to give it to you.
Drop it on me, baby.
Jan Michael Vincent married my high school best friend.
He's one top about
Right?
it.
Jan Michael Vincent, he's another one. I tell you, everybody lived in friggin' Malibu back then. He lived up the street, and Jan Michael Vincent, I would party on a Friday night. The poor guy had a real serious issues. I would go into back the next day, on Saturday night rather, the next day for brunch, and I remember one day, and this really struck me that he had an issue, was he was still head down on the bar. They let him sleep there from the point that they closed it. You know, he was partied like crazy.
If
I
anybody
mean, he was Brad Pitt back in those days.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
He was
Brad Pitt.
If you go right now and look up Jan Michael Vincent circa 1973, you're going to see one of the most remarkable faces to ever hit the screen.
Oh, women loved him.
When he fucking came on the Disney movie, The World's Strongest Man. Yeah. I remember I had to be like in the first grade, and little girls were fainting in the fucking movie theater. Then he did The Mechanic.
Yep.
Then he did a great movie that nobody ever... It was called Defiance.
Where he played the Marine.
The New York City...
Oh, in the street protecting...
Yes,
he was
Yellow.
He was a boat worker.
A boat worker. And Paulie from The Sopranos.
Right. And then
that's a great cast.
Great cast.
If you look at that movie, you're like, what the fuck? The guy that played the gang leader in that movie is brilliant.
The Puerto Rican gang member is perfect.
Yes,
perfect.
His tattoo was Jesus' thorn around his head. And the guy popped up years later in the Sean Penn movie of the gang movie.
The State of Grace.
No, the other one, the gang movie from L.A., with the rap music, 1987, 88.
Oh, what's the name of that film? Jeez.
You know, Sean Penn fucking rap about gang life and stuff like that. That movie.
Where he was an LAPD officer with Robert Duvall.
Yes.
Yeah.
He popped up in that. He played like a desk sergeant. that bust Duval and his balls. Brilliant. I mean, this is Michael Vincent. Could have been
not Colors, right? Is that it?
Colors,
yeah, that was it.
Colors.
Michael Vincent was on his way to being the biggest thing in
Hollywood.
He screwed himself, as we've seen happen to many, many actors in Hollywood. And when Busey was my neighbor, I was friends with John Milius, the director, for a lot of years, and he made a film called Big Wednesday, which was a surf film. Busey, Jan Michael Vincent, William Catt, a whole selection of actors. I mean, he was on his way, and then he had an accident. After Chad's dad, Steve, died, Chad started producing some movies later on, and they hired Jan for one of these B movies. And right before the movie started, he had an accident and went through the windshield, and it totally ruined his face. Remember how handsome he was? He was like Frankenstein.
And he was on a TV show at the time. He
Airwolf,
was on
Airwolf,
yeah.
Which he told me, he said he hated doing. He said he loved Airwolf because of the money, but it was the hardest acting work he ever did because TV kept him on the set for like 16 hours a day, doing this movie. He liked doing the TV show. He liked the hours of the film better than the rigorous schedule of making a TV show, but he made bank out of that show. That was a very popular show for a while.
It was. He was on for a while. And then he disappeared. Then years later, they did like behind the whatever music type show.
Mm-hmm.
What was that show? When you had a bad fucking career.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I forget.
They
I
did
know
one of
what
those. What happened to them? And I watched it, and I was crying. He did a movie where he played like a beach kid, not Blue Lagoon.
One of his younger movies.
Yes, he played something. Jan Michael Vincent was in a film. He played like a kid by the beach with some other girl.
Wasn't it with like dream sequences or something?
Something fucking weird.
What year do you think it was?
It was
roughly?
before The Mechanic. So Jan Michael Vincent, just press up the IMDb. It was before The Mechanic.
Sandcastles?
There you go.
Yeah,
Something,
that's it.
Sandcastles. That was the one that saw them. But then he did The Mechanic.
He also got in trouble with domestic abuse. The girl I told you about, he was accused of whacking her around pretty hard.
Then another path that you and I have crossed together is I go to Colorado. I go to Syatt, Colorado Mountain College. They offer all these degree classes, but they also want you to take 2 UGOTS classes. I don't know what they call them, like
electives?
Electives, yeah.
And one of the electives was Subakdo, which is the cousin to Tang Sudo. It was Chuck Norris's Tang Sudo before Chuck Norris left it.
Really?
And that's what they sell it as, Subakdo. In fact, one of the biggest schools is on Sunset. Subakdo attendance has dropped.
Of course.
So
I think all traditional martial arts tend
so
to
they
drop.
put a combative school in there now, Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Combative. And because of that, they're doing at least a little better,
Yeah, you got to make... I mean, I loved my experience in Tang Soo Do, and I've got a second-degree black belt in it, but my want was, in my early 20s, the dojo sparring and everything was just boring. It wasn't doing anything for me, and I enjoyed fighting, when it happened, and I don't know why. I went into kickboxing because, when you spar in kickboxing, you're getting whacked or you get to whack the guy, and, it was a lot more fun. And I just got heavily into kickboxing and got out of the traditional martial arts. But I have tremendous respect for all traditional martial arts, and I think for young kids it teaches them discipline, and, and hopefully it teaches them discipline in this day and age. So, I respect all martial arts. It's a matter of choice.
When I went back on my comeback trail in 2007 and tried to get clean from everything, that's what I did.
Can we turn on the air?
Yeah, I got back into martial arts again because I thought about, where I was before my mother passed, and when I started fucking up is when I quit martial arts. I was involved in martial arts from the age of 6 to the age of 15.
Cool.
And then
what was your style back then? What's your style?
Gushin-Ryu karate.
Oh, the Okinawan karate.
It was all the same. It was when I first signed up in New York City, it was Goju karate, the black guys, the tough black guys on 90th Street on the West Side.
They were tough.
And then when I moved to Jersey, I liked the karate, I liked the forms. I always went to the competitions in New York.
Were you doing kata competitions?
Kata competitions. In those days, there wasn't no punching in the face or below the waist. It was semi-contact. So you had to wear a head thing, and you had to kick with those things on your feet. This is what I did that from probably the age of 8 till about 14. I did that point type shit, Aaron Banks.
Well, that actually works out in my thing, too, because I'm 57. I'm 6 years older than you. And if you did that at like 12, I think I competed in the internationals when I was here in LA at the Long Beach, and when I was 17. I think Rogan actually won the internationals.
Probably. He did all that stuff.
Yeah, I know, because I know he's
we're a lot
back.
older than he is. He came later on.
Yeah.
I went to the local ones on Saturdays and Sundays. You fought on Saturdays and you did form on Sundays, and you waited for a trophy and you went home and you went and got Chinese food, or you went and watched a Bruce Lee movie. But those kids didn't get high. Those kids didn't have a bad thought. Those kids' lives were, and and the weird thing was we'd get together and it was like 8 of us. But us 3 went to the same school. The kid from down the block went to judo. The other kid went to taekwondo. Nobody was in jiu-jitsu then. Jiu-jitsu wasn't even here yet.
No, I know.
No, jiu-jitsu wasn't even here
I
yet.
dabbled in it, but that was it. Dabbled.
I remember Syatt was in the Bronx. Like, you had to go to the Bronx to learn motherfucking Syatt and shit. We'll be kicking like French motherfuckers.
French martial arts in the Bronx?
In the Bronx when I was a kid. Like, you had to drive to places like that. But beside that, there was nothing. So all of us would get together and we'd teach each other things. Like, so let's say you went to Fu Jiao Pai Kung Fu. You teach me a form, and then I teach you a form, a green belt form from my karate school. And then he'd teach you something from me, and it was just kids. But once I got out of that circle was when I started fucking up, is my fucking point. All right? What do you think?
Basically, that kept you straight. Then you got sidewide.
And when I wanted to get straight again, I joined a kung fu school on Vermont. And I would go Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'd have to kick and do forms. And it got my mindset of being around people that don't give a fuck that I do comedy. They don't give a fuck that I've been in a movie.
Right.
These people are worried about making rent. They just barely could pay that place. So when they go there, they're not there to talk or socialize. They go there to do their kung fu and get the fuck out.
The way it should be,
and that's the way it should be. It's pretty interesting, the different. But that it always kept me straight. And like I said, I went to Jiu-Jitsu Tuesday and I went to Jiu-Jitsu today, and I had a great time. I'm improving.
Joey, I've seen a big change in you, and I told you that. I mean, you look great.
Yeah,
and, I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, I'm
sincerely happy for that. But no matter how many different styles you train in martial arts, and I've trained in a number of different styles. I mean, as far as seeing what they're like you say, I call it dabbling. Is what I call it. Fights come down to one thing: just punch the guy right between the eyes. Just punch him right between the eyes, and keep punching, and keep punching, and keep punching. Don't get too fancy. It's all simple. That's
what I don't want to do. Punch somebody between the eyes. That's why I eat pot cookies and give Lee fucking gummy bears and shit. It's amazing.
I don't go around punching people, Joey. I'm just saying if somebody picks on you, or did you see that video this week that was released of the guy in the convenience store, the Indian fella I think it was from, that fought MMA, and did you see this thing?
I heard something about a gas station guy.
Unbelievable. Yeah. These 2 or 3 guys come up to steal the money bag that they're either delivering or whatever. It's his buddy, and the outside camera caught it. He runs out and just straight leg drop kicks this guy, and puts the knuckles to him, and then to his other friend. It was street justice. I'm just like this. I'm just like, yeah, I wish that would happen every day.
That's the problem. Everybody got a motherfucking camera. So even after you go home and you're sleeping and you think you did your deed as an American,
well, you got to live for it. It's going to live on after that.
They're going to come fucking get you.
This guy they're not going to come get this guy. This guy should get the key to the city. I'll give you an instance of where something happened while we're on the subject of street justice. I got it right here.
Nowadays, something like that happens. A week later, the DA, oh, by the way, we have to press charges on you for minor assault because the guy ended up in the fucking hospital. And you're like,
well, didn't the fighter just get off because like some people broke into a fighter's house and they shot him or something, but it ended up being in self-defense like last week.
Did he get off? Is it still pending, or did he get off?
I think they dismissed the case. Let me see if I can find it.
They had another incident with an 80-year-old man. That's what I was looking for here. I read about it this morning. He had been robbed in his house before, and he came home and found this guy and this girl trying to pry open the safe in his house. They jumped on him. They broke his collarbone. They knocked him to the ground. The 80-year-old guy had the wherewithal to reach for his .22. It was only 22. And he shot the guy in the back. Or he shot at the guy. They ran out of the house. He was so pissed because they broke his collarbone. They beat him up. They're trying to rob him. He ran out into the street after them. Now, that's like an 80-year-old man, okay? Ran out into the street after him, shot the guy in the back. The girl falls to the ground. She pleads for him not to shoot her because she says, I'm pregnant. She wasn't pregnant. He shoots her, right? Kills them both. Now he's going to be arrested, probably go to jail for the rest of his life. But he was wrong. As soon as they ran out of the house, you can't do anything. You can't do anything.
Right, this guy, 4 people broke into his house. He stabbed one guy and killed him, and then beat the other guy so badly the other 2 guys ran away. So he didn't shoot him. He stabbed.
I love it.
I mean,
listen, man. You always number 1 rule: you want to fuck somebody up, invite them over for dinner. That's the way. You want to fuck somebody's world up, you invite them over for dinner. That's the old Carmine the Torch way. That's old school, and that's what when you want to get away with murder, fucking put a string of 20s going right to your door and shit, and just sit there with a BB gun and a fucking bazooka. I mean, that's how you can shoot somebody. If you really want to shoot somebody, that's the way to shoot somebody. Just put like 8 20s leading up to your house, leave the door open, and just sit there with a fucking submachine gun and shit.
Are you for capital punishment?
Am I for capital punishment?
I know this is a very sketchy subject, but while we're on the subject of
it's hard.
Revenge.
It's hard when like part of me thinks like yes, like sometimes it would, but then like could you push the button? That's where like
I'm gonna tell you something.
Decision.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, they tried to ice somebody and it took 8 hours. His eyeball popped or something
well, that's
like
new,
that.
But yeah,
that's all new, but it happens once a fucking month. We just don't hear about it. Listen, man, I'm from the 2 sides of the fence. If you fuck up and there's a state law that says you gotta go, if you do one of those fucking things, you gotta go. If you really think about it, you're not really gonna go. It's gonna take 18 years before you fucking go.
We're taxpayers are paying $45,000 a year keeping these guys alive.
For me to say, am I in favor of capital punishment? Listen, man, I'm sitting here. You're telling me that story about that old fucking man, and I'm thinking about him, and I'm thinking about what he's going through. But I'm also thinking about the time I drove Dave Black. And I was in the car, and he went in and fucking, shook somebody down. And all of a sudden, he's like, run. And I'm driving, and he's running up to the car because the guy's going to get a fucking gun and shoot him. I've been in those situations. I couldn't have been here right now. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not one of those guys that says, I'm so lucky to be here. No. But I know that situation. So for me to say, should he get shot or not, I'm a fucking hypocrite one way or another,
And that thing with what I was saying is like they outlawed the old system for like the chemicals to put people to sleep. So like for the past 2 or 3 months, they've been trying new ones and it's not working.
Whatever happened? Just not to interrupt you, Buff.
No, it's okay.
What about a cigarette and you fucking shoot him? What do you want to eat, dog? What are you talking about? Listen, it's all over. What do you want to eat? Come on.
I don't know. I think a little differently. I think if somebody murdered and raped, someone's daughter, that the punishment should be to have 3 of the selected family members with baseball bats go into a small room and spend a half hour
in a real fucking world.
Yeah, in the
but
real
that's
world.
not going to happen because we have Gentiles and they save whales and they're out there fucking swimming, saving the clam. Save the mouse program and all that shit. So you have these people that they get light. So you can't in a real world. I would love to be a prison guard and somebody did something to somebody's child, and for me to go, Lee, come on down. Bring the fucking baseball bat and the fucking fishing pole. You're going up his asshole. I wish.
Well,
how many people really would?
Right.
How many people would?
A fraction of the ones that say they would.
I know for a fact, man, when I was 21, there was 18 people I wanted to kill, and I had no reason to live, and I had access to weapons, and I wanted to kill these people. And after a while, I would look at these people for what they really were, even at my young age. And I would say, why would I want to kill them? They're already fucking dead. They're already fucking dead. Some of these people walking around that did you wrong or they just done people wrong, they're already dead. They don't even know. They know they're walking dead. You don't know it. You think like, oh, look at him. He's having a fucking good time. Donald Sterling's been dead for 20 fucking years. He's just got $100 million holding him up.
Well, like what? Just whenever I think about it, because it's a hard question. But like every once in a while, they'll have something where this guy went to jail for 18 years and gets out because he didn't do it.
Just happened the other week.
You spent a year or something in jail, right? Like how long is a year to think about doing 18 years when you didn't do it? And then like that, like you guys said, if someone hurt my mom in any way, I'd want him dead in a second. But then what if it's that 1% that didn't do it, and it's
well, that's always not always a question, but it's a question that comes up. But listen, if they can let OJ Simpson off, when I know for a fact because of the fact that I know the third prosecutor on the team there, and they didn't allow so much evidence in. I mean, come on. Does anybody believe that OJ Simpson is innocent anymore? Did you believe
look
it?
at him. After he got off, the families wanted him dead, and you could see that he was dead already. You could see him, even when he won and he cried in the church and they went home and had the party. He was walking dead, and he was so dead that he went 6 years later, 8 years later, committed a kidnapping in a fucking hotel. He's
with the memorabilia thing.
Yeah, with the memorabilia thing.
And he wrote a book saying, if I had done it.
Yeah, but has anybody ever read that book?
I think they might have not put it out. I think they were saying it's going to come out, and then it got such a bad press thing. I think the publisher took it.
He was trying to make money to pay back his fucking defense. Everybody knows he did it, and he got away with it. But he got away with what? What did he get away with at the end of the fucking week? You don't get away with nothing, guys. I'm telling you right now, you don't get away with fucking nothing. You know what, man? Fucking John Gotti died of throat cancer. Sammy the Bull Gravano. You know what Sammy the Bull is? Under the jail in Colorado. He's got a condition from steroids and shit that he shakes.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive, and his hair and his teeth fall out of his fucking mouth. These people are alive, but they're dead. This guy that beat everybody, the stockbroker, and that's in jail, and he's in federal jail. That dude, 2 years ago. Maloof.
Yeah.
That guy's dead. He's just in.
Or Madoff.
Madoff is in a fucking jail, and he may have lunch money or whatever, but when he closes that cell at night, he knows he's fucking dead. How do I know that? Because at one time I was dead. That's why am I for capital punishment? What if tonight I went to get Ken Vella as I was moving him with the gun in my hand, as dumb as I am, I went for the fucking gun, the gun would have blown his fucking head off. Where would I be right now? They would have probably fucking, it's kidnapping 2, and murder. That's fucking capital punishment. So right now I'd probably still be waiting to get fucking shot in the fucking head with a cigarette in my mouth and the chicken parmesan in my fucking stomach, all right?
Better check the statute of limitations of some of these stories you're telling, Joey.
No, I went to jail for Ken Vella. I did time for Ken Vella. But even then, I remember being in a conversation with my attorney and the district attorney and the chick, and they're saying all this shit, and they said something that brought light to my life, that always brought light to my life. In the meeting, they said the reason Mr. Diaz has to go to prison is because what if?
Really?
What if?
Wow. Interesting.
What if he would have been dragging him and the gun would have went off? What if he would have been dragging him and the gun would have went off and shot the other guy or shot himself? There was a potential for violence. When there's a potential for violence, you're going to fucking jail.
How many years did they give you?
They gave me 4 to 6 with a reconsideration after 90 days. I ended up doing 8 months, 9 months, 12 months. But I was dead.
That's 8, 9, 12 months more than I ever
did.
Ever spell in jail.
2 months in county, a Christmas, a New Year's, a birthday. Trust me. And it's not you who suffers, it's the people who have to come fucking get you. You think Sandusky's in the federal jail having a good time right now? He's in a closet fucking crying. He knows black people out to fucking stab him in the neck with a Motown Sound album. And he's missing fucking little kids at the same time. He's a dead man. He's dead inside. So don't ever think that these people are fucking alive and having a good time.
When you say dead, do you mean like they feel bad, like, or is it could you be dead inside and not even feel bad? Because like, what's his name? OJ Simpson to me doesn't seem like he's remorseful.
As soon as he won, every picture they took of OJ, he was dead.
But that's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean remorseful. It doesn't seem like he feels bad.
No, he never was remorseful. Yes, he was remorseful. He killed the best piece of pussy in Malibu. That chick would lick your asshole, and she loved black cock, and she loved that fucking U on her titties, and what the fuck.
Did you find this out on IMDb?
It's a 200 fucking episode.
It's on her Wikipedia.
What the fuck? So. I mean, that is one of the worst things of all time. That whole murder and how it went down and how they found the fingerprint, but it rained after the murder, so the fingerprint became a partial fingerprint. They did so much. Listen, man, it was such a complicated murder. There was so much blood involved.
How long ago was this?
The OJ Simpson.
Oh, you're talking about OJ.
Not me.
No.
I
was like, oh no.
On the OJ thing, my business partner's brother was the third or fourth in the prosecution team. Hank Goldberg is his name. And, when you think about it, like the bit with the glove, the glove had blood. It was wet. I mean, Take a leather glove, pour water over it right now, let it dry overnight. Let me see you put on that glove tomorrow morning. You going to be able to stick your fingers in that glove?
Yeah.
No. It's just ridiculous. They had the blood in his Bronco. She was sliced all the way down to where her neck was. It was through the vertebrae. It was hanging on by tendons and a little bit of bone. That's called crime of passion. Passion. And I've heard this from, I used to play poker with the police chief from Culver City, and he was telling me all this stuff. It's
when I
like,
read
how did this guy get off? I just can't believe it.
And then there was a lady who saw the truck speed off, but she sold the story to the Inquirer or somebody, so that made her story null and fucking void. So they got away with. But in the reality, if you've ever been convicted of anything or ever been gone to court, in reality, all OJ did was he put together the Yankees against like a AAA fucking. You following me?
In your opinion, for most stuff, I mean, of course, there's some stuff you just can't. But for most crimes, if you just throw money at it, are you going to get off or get maybe?
You're never going to get
probation?
off, but you're going to get a lesser. Instead of
lesser.
getting 30 years, you're going to do 6 at a country club.
That's so fucked
They're
up.
going to tailor it so it's non-violent because they didn't find your fingerprint on. And you're sitting there going through this. But it's a DA. He's arguing. Your attorney. For your attorney to argue, he's got to get they have to get people who go out and investigators, and they investigate what's going on precisely to the fucking, because they can't attack that shit. Like with me, when I sat with my attorney, I got accused of kidnapping 1, 2, aggravated burglary, assault or something, and accessory to a crime, something fucking crazy. I got convicted of 5 felonies. 4 of them were heavy duty, right? But they didn't find my fingerprints on the fucking on the handcuffs, so they never found my fingerprints on the weapon. Then they did a background search, and I had been involved in a few fights, but it could never escalate from a few fights to a machine gun.
Right.
So my attorney told me, "You're doing time. You're doing time. How much time?"
That's the question.
Is what the question is. They want to give you 9 fucking years. I'm going to try to get you 4. All right? With what you went to high school, you got your degree, all this shit.
How did you feel at that moment when he said that to you?
When he said what?
When he said, it was evident when he laid it out for you, Joey, you're going to jail. You're going to go to jail for, however you put it, 6 years and try to get it. How did you feel at that moment knowing that the reality is, besides the reality you're already experiencing, the reality of your future is hitting you right now?
I was 25 years old. And if I'm sitting here lying to you, may God strike me, I knew 2 years before that I was going away. I had to pay for my sins. For me to move on with my life, I had to pay for my sins. And I knew that in the back of my mind. This is all going to go down to what I get caught doing. They had almost got me on the cocaine in 85. They almost had me with this. They almost had me on the... And then somewhere I weaved my way out of it. I left. Before they could, they were going to make multiple buys and then tie them in. They never made the multiple buy. Whatever they did, they fucked up. But I knew I had to pay somewhere along the line. I didn't know it was going to be for fucking kidnapping. When they came in and said, you're looking at 48 fucking years. If you take this to trial, you're going to get 20. 20. I'm 25. And it's a violent crime. So that means you go in front of parole after 20 and they could still say, no, he's not ready. Oh, I'm sorry. After like 15 years, you go in front of parole. Don't make me do the full fucking 20. So I knew I was dead, Bruce. I
understand what you're
dead.
saying. Yeah,
I was dead. But I knew that this was my fate. Now I had options. I could go to Honduras and work at a Hertz. I could go to Mexico in those days. It was 85. I could slip into Mexico like nothing, or I could do the time. I could just do it, and I knew that. I heard horror stories of people who run. I heard people who got away for 30 years, had a kid with church workers now or volunteers at the hospital. And one night somebody got into a car accident. They had to go to the hospital, and they did a background check. They did a fingerprint. When you're the dumbest fucking thing. Here you are in the middle of your life. That shit's forgotten. And all of a sudden they're going to pinch you for something you did 30 years fucking earlier.
And you're waking up every day with that in your head.
With that in your head.
Yeah.
I said, no, I don't want that. So I stalled him. I got a good attorney. I fired him. I got another attorney. I was hoping that the witness would disappear. And then finally they called and said it's over. The charade is over. You're going to fucking, you're pleading on June, and you're getting sentenced August 15th, 1988. Whew. And then, but in the back of my cocaine-addicted brain, I was going to get away with this one because I had gotten away with all the others I had done. For years, everything, I was always one step ahead of them. So in my mind, the lucky angel was going to come through. You know, I'm Catholic, so in my mind, St. Francis of Assisi was going to drop a note like he did for that, or how they did for him. And angels were going to appear in the courtroom, and the judge was going to take a piece of paper from the air, and he was going to say, let him go because Jesus said so, you know, some bullshit. And they called, this was the fucked up part, Buck, that they called the Friday before, when you're believing. So I want you to think about this. So it was August 12th, and they called at 9:05 to say, hey, community corrections turned you down. You got two options. Either the probation department picks you up, or you're going to prison. I'm going to be in my office till 10, and I'm going down to the file a motion. And I was like, I had till 5 o'clock. Like, I knew that was it. Right. I had to make a decision at 8 o'clock. So I did what any other good American do. I went and got a couple 8 balls, and I just went straight till fucking Monday morning. What a fucking shame. I probably slept 3 hours before I went to court. And I went with my cocaine mind and walked in there and said, I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to go up in front of this judge.
Because you're fantasizing for 2 days.
I was going to go up in front of this judge and sweet talk this motherfucker. I was going to chuck and jive.
Yeah, how'd that work for you, Joey?
Oh, my God. Let me tell you how much of a fucking... When they said, call my name, Jose Diaz, stand, and he asked me what words I had to say, my voice went. My voice went. I started squeaking. For years, I had been talking, chucking and jiving. Oh.
I can't imagine your voice going.
My fucking voice went, guys. My whole body shut down. It was like a little squeak. I got tears in my eyes. I was dead.
Now, they took you to jail that day, or they sent you?
Oh, my God.
So now you got something else to deal with. You got to withdraw from not only the 8 balls you played with that weekend, you got to withdraw from your lifestyle. So now you're going to jail. Now you don't have the recreational escapes. I mean, that's like, how bad can it get?
Hold on.
That's a great word for drug use.
If you know anything about Mad Flavor, you know he had a little something in his suit. You know what I'm saying?
You think you can walk in today and keep that going into jail?
This was amazing. This is Boulder County.
Yeah.
I never forget I had this suit on. This is a true story. I'm joking around with you. This is a tremendously true story. I had bought the suit, and in those days, I used to hide my coke in my suits. So after he sentenced me...
Where would you hide them? Like, sew a pocket in or something?
In my suit, anywhere, right? In this suit here, where you put an envelope, I put a coke in there, where you put the handkerchief.
Right.
And I just opened the closet, and I had different shirts, and I put coke in. I bought the suit that I wore to that thing, like the Monday before. So I only had that suit a week. So I didn't know what was going on. I put it on the day I was getting sentenced. I go down there. They sentenced me. My family's in court. The girl I was dating, her family, a couple friends from Jersey had flown out. And as I would walk in, boom, I knew I was dead. That's it. I couldn't do nothing. I got 4 to 6 years. They would decide after after they analyze your fucking brain, they decide what kind of sentence. I fucking go back into the thing. There's a camera in the fucking cell. I go back there. I have my suit on. I take the suit off. I had my shoes on. They didn't take my laces out there. Nothing. Maybe I didn't even have laces. I went back to have my shoes, and I folded my jacket, and I was looking for like lifesavers I had. I go, oh fuck, I got life, because I know you ain't gonna eat for a while. It was 1 something, so I already missed lunch. So I know I was gonna have to get processed, and then go to county. I knew I was in there for 8, 9 hours. And do you know I'm going through my pockets? And Buff, I pull out a Coke rock this fucking big. It had to be 1.5 grams.
Did you have anything to chop it with?
Oh, no. I just chopped it with my fucking hands. And I must have had like $1 bill or something. I rolled it up like I've been doing for years. And I did it all in one fucking gagoop.
That's called the last hurrah.
And I took that bindle and I flushed in that metal toilet. And I rolled my dollar back on. And I sat there in county waiting. There was nobody in the cell with me. And next thing you know, they were going, Diaz, wake up. I had passed out for 3 hours. right after doing the coke. Like the stress of me going away.
The whole build.
It was over.
Yeah,
it was over.
yeah.
It overpowered the coke, and that's it. They took me, and then I got processed. They fingerprint you. They take your fucking suit. They give you an orange suit. They look in your asshole. You pee in a cup. You know, that was it. That was the beginning of the end. It was really. And at that time, I thought my life was over. Like
When did it start coming back together? Like after you acclimated yourself for a number of months, or
after I was in there? No. You know, I took the party right in there. Don't ever think that. I was 25. You had to shoot me with a fucking bazooka.
yeah, sure.
So I went right in there. I held it together for a few weeks. The only thing I didn't do in there was smoke pot. But once I got into the system, I didn't do blow or nothing like that. I did acid. There was a lot of acid and crank in there. There was a white dude from Philly, Clark was his name.
He was the candy man.
He was the speed guy. He was the biker. He was the biker fucking meth guy in those days. They didn't call it meth. They called it speed. That's it. I think those guys shot it. I snorted it. But I only snorted it like once or twice in there. It was really, it was a different experience, which I've always held close to my heart, believe it or not.
Like I said, never forget where you come from.
Some people would put it away and not let people know. I always keep it in the side of my head because it makes me think of how fast things happen in your life.
You ever do any work relaying this to kids or relaying it to like a Scared Straight type program? You ever do anything like that? To help help them, scare them a little bit?
I want to, but here's the deal. From the time I was 12 to the time I got put away, life was throwing me a Scared Straight. I didn't give a Frenchman's fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when I talk to Lee after I leave, I know if Lee's a gangster and Lee's making, if Lee right now in 2014, because Lee's 26 years old, if Lee was making $4,000 a week to Lee and he was going out every night and drinking VIP in Vegas and shit, 16 grand a month, he'd be paying $4 for his apartment, and he'd blow the rest. Lee would think he was Al Capone, would he not? So when I leave the room, he'd say, he's an old fuck. He don't know nothing. He's a fucking loser, Joe Diaz. What the fuck does he know? We know. Mm-hmm. And people knew who gave me advice, but who the fuck were they to give me advice? Right. And I took some of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I took a lot of advice. I know when some people come up to you, when I was a kid, somebody came up to me and said, when they can do me a favor, don't go down to Seahawk and rob those motorcycles no more. Yeah, but don't go down there and rob motorcycles no more. Okay. A week later, we went down and got robbed motorcycles, and 2 of the kids got arrested. When I seen him the next day, he looked at me and goes, didn't I tell you not to go down there and rob the motorcycle? Yeah, but you didn't say the cops were down there. I didn't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you shit. I'm telling you not to go down there. That's all you need to fucking know.
Did you say ride the motorcycles or rob the motorcycles? Okay, I didn't get that at first.
When we were kids, one of the trains went through that Secaucus port.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to carry Honda motorcycles. Not built. They were like...
You pull them right off the thing?
And you pull them right off the train. You put them into the swamps. And then later on, you and 6 gorillas had to come back and carry them out of the swamps. And you had to cut the bike in 3 ways. So you had to steal a couple bikes. You got a piece of a whole bike. You know what I'm saying?
So you rebuilt the bikes, or you sold them as is?
So you take them right to the fucking Honda dealership. In those days, in the 70s, they didn't give a fuck. Paperwork, they typed that shit up in 10
Serial
minutes.
Numbers didn't mean crap back
Nothing.
You bring it back to the Honda dealership?
To the Honda dealership on the top of Kennedy Boulevard.
And say we bought these?
No, we're bringing these in. What can we get for them? In the fucking crate. Dome and Kawasaki's. I remember but our main money maker that you didn't even take back to the Honda dealer was the Honda Mini Trail.
The mini bike.
Oh my God.
We used to ride those like crazy when we were kids.
You have no idea.
Love that.
No clutch, 3 in the tree.
Do they have anything like that anymore?
1 up and 2 down or 3 down.
Yeah.
And you always had the fucking nerd on the block that knew how to ramp the CCs up to 79 or 80 CCs. Are you fucking kidding me or what? With the little fat chubby tires and shit. We used to get those in a box. And one time, me, like 8 guys, they were a lot older. And the last time I went down, I got shot with a salt and pepper gun. Salt and pepper gun, where they shot you and they blow up, and then you start scratching for 3 days like some dude.
You mean the rock salt that the police officers used to shoot?
This is no, it wasn't the cops in those days. It was the Port Authority Transit Police. The people down with
That was their idea of a stun gun?
Yeah, there was no bullets. They didn't have bullets. Or they had flashlights and a salt and pepper gun. Next thing you know, you're scratching like you got Ebola and shit. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? Like, who's got fucking Ebola anymore? The thing that, before we fucking go off the track here, I met you years ago, and we always fly back together on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I always sit with you, and we talk, and
It's
we
great. I love
chit-chat.
that. I love that.
And it's really weird that one of the things, I love when you get to find things out about people. And you always, sometimes you meet people, and they're like, oh, by the way, I'm having an art, you're a construction worker. But I'm having an art display down at the gallery, and you're like, get the fuck out of my face. But one day, you hit me with your hobby. And there is no hobby that I love more, that I'm scared to pursue, than the art of poker.
Oh.
The art of poker, to me, is something that there's few things that I would like to be. Yeah, I like to be Joe Lozon, but I also like to be fucking a poker player. To live that lifestyle. I wish that life would say to you, okay, so you're going to grow up to be 85 years old. What do you want to do? And you're like, well, I want to be a comedian until I'm about 38. And then from 38 to 51, I want to be a jiu-jitsu star. I want to fly all over the world. But after that, I just want to be a poker guy where I live with sunglasses on, and I go from casino to casino all over the fucking world and play poker. I go from city to city doing comedy. Those guys, those real fucking gangsters with the glasses, and they're eccentric because they're all very eccentric. Mm-hmm. They travel. You got to chase the cards, I think, right, or you just live in Vegas? What the fuck do you do?
Well, a lot of these guys, like the Daniel Negreanu's of this world, who's now the top leading poker winner with like over $20 million in poker tournament winnings. On to Phil Hellmuth, who everybody's heard about. I can go on and on about the different guys that are out there. Doyle Brunson, everybody knows Doyle Brunson. These guys, a lot of them are like professional athletes, like tennis players that are sponsored. And they'll travel the world, and play all the big tournaments. One, like last week or last month, I was playing with them at the World Series in Vegas during the main event. Suddenly they'll head out this month and head over to Europe to play the European Poker Tour. So they'll be in London, or they'll be in the south of France, in Monte Carlo or Cannes. Or then they're over to Australia and Melbourne at the Crown Casino where I play. That's amazing. Or they'll go over to China, and they just travel, playing all these big tournaments. So it's kind of like life on the road, but you're right. I mean, it is exciting, but that's not the way it is for all of them. Your basic average poker player is what we call a grinder, and something I would never want to be. I love playing poker, but selectively where and who I play with. But the grinders that are looking to make their, with respect, God bless all of them, because, I believe we're all created equal in life, Joey. It's just about the paths we choose. I hate seat. I like real people. So these guys, when they go and they do the grinding to make their $200 a day, their $500 a day to pay the bills, right? They're there 8 hours a day at that table, sitting down, grinding. That's not the poker life for me. The poker life I like is playing the big tournaments like the World Series, where you got to drop down. Some of the events are 1,000, but the main event's 10,000. And you have a chance to win $8 million, or in this case, this year was a guarantee of $10 million for first prize. Or you could win 100,000. I've won as much as 30,000 in that tournament, and on and on and on. Or you go over and you play the World Poker Tour in, like I said, the south of France. They even have it in Greece. I couldn't go play. I was invited, all expenses. Plane was paid for. My entry was paid for. They just wanted me to go play and do an appearance, but I had a UFC. I couldn't go. You don't think I wanted to go to Greece and play that poker tournament? It could be a very exciting, adventurous James Bond lifestyle life, but that's not the life of your average poker player. I'd say they're grinding it out to pay the bills. And every time a guy comes up to you, I don't care who he is. I don't care if he's talking about blackjack or poker or whatever. And out of their mouth is always, hey, I won 100,000. I won 10,000. They don't tell you, the guy that said I won 10,000, he doesn't tell you about the 20 times he lost 5.
Right, nobody
right?
does. Yeah.
They don't do that, do they?
No.
The way I do it for myself is I treat it like a business for the last 11 years, 10 or 11 years. On my computer, I can tell you every day where I played, what I played, how much I won, how much I lost, tally at the end of the month, tally at the end of the year. I've only had one losing year in 10 years, and it wasn't a lot. Otherwise, I treat it like a business, because you don't win all the time, Sure, I can tell you many times I've won 5 figures, and I'll tell you that truthfully I've lost 5 figures too. So it's about keeping track. If you don't keep track of it, you lose track of it. It's really that simple. You know, that's how I like to work it.
Now, I'm very ignorant at this gambling style. I grew up around numbers, policy banking, the 3 numbers at the track, and I grew up around sports betting. So I was never hip to. I saw people play dice. Because I had no patience, and because I was a coke fiend, I couldn't stand.
There's
it.
no way you could play poker with those two.
With those two actions. Now I could learn it.
You could learn, and you would probably enjoy it very much because you're a very cerebral individual. And I know, being from the streets of New York and your life that you've been through, you've got to be a good reader of people. You've got to have a poker gut. You can see somebody and tell if they're an asshole or if they're somebody decent. Probably by the first 2 lines of
You
that
have
one.
to. I always talk to Lee about this. You have to.
Yeah, you have to have that kind of perception. You have to put together what they call a bankroll. So when you're gambling, what I do, my business life is over here, my personal life's over here. I've got an account over here for poker. It's called my bankroll. The money I've won, everything comes out of that bankroll. So that way I control the bankroll. There's different aspects of it. But the thing about poker is that if you can get into it, for me, it's like a competitive adrenaline rush. When I knock somebody out of a tournament and I take all their chips, right? We're not there to make friends. We're there to make money. But we're there to have a good time too. And I do have a good time playing. When I take them for all their chips, I get this real feeling of like adrenaline rush of competition. I did a competition in the past with the surfing and martial arts and all the stuff I used to do in the past and still do today. I still surf and stuff, but it's like I can't go out and bang away and take the abuse of my body that I used to. So I look for competition in different areas, and a lot of them it's cerebral. And poker gives me that rush that I need.
How long have you been playing poker for?
My dad taught me at 9 how to play poker and blackjack, and he taught me about horse racing. He said, never follow horses. If you're going to follow them with a shovel. Don't bet on them, right? Which is great advice. I started playing cash games when I was 14 with my brother Brian. And we used to play these, there was a country club near our house in Philly, and we would play the Jewish caddies. And we'd have games at our house. And my brother actually made enough money to go to Europe and take a month vacation over in Europe when he was 18. And then the real poker boom came in 2003 when Chris Moneymaker won the World Series. Because back in the old days of the World Series, there was maybe 150 or 200 entries. So the guy that won the World Series, like Amarillo Slim or Doyle Brunson back then, they maybe beat 200, 300 people. Today, you got to beat a field of like 6,500 or more people that enter the main event, right? And you got to get down to the top 10% in order to get your money back, which is $10,000, and then start making money on that from that point forward, all the way up to the $10 million that somebody will win in November when the final 9 players come back. So rounders that we talked about earlier, and when Moneymaker, who entered a satellite, which is a tournament you play online, in his case, for like $35, give or take, he entered the satellite and he won a seat into the main event World Series. He went on to win the World Series, and he won $2.5 million. So he was this dysfunctional, degenerate gambler from the Midwest who was an accountant, but then became world famous for being the common man, becoming famous overnight, winning his $2.5 million, and that just set the world on fire. Suddenly now you've got 4, 5, or 6 TV shows, World Poker Tour, World Series, Celebrity Poker, all these shows coming out. I played on every one of them except for Celebrity Poker and High Stakes, but they all just started growing like rabbits. And now thousands are going into Vegas and playing the World Series, and it just built. And these websites like Full Tilt and Party Poker. Party Poker came to me in 1999 and wanted me to work with them, bringing the poker world into MMA events. And this is one of the things I regret in business. I didn't see it back then, but I saw it 2 years later, but it was too late. I had a chance to work for them. The lady that started Party Poker sold it and went public for the biggest sale of like almost any company around, like billions.
So you still allowed to play poker online?
What's happening now is the Safe Port Act was signed about 3 years ago when I was on Full Tilt. I was on Full Tilt's poker's team for 4 years. They used to pay me to play poker online on their site. And the Safe Port Act was signed in April. We call it Black Friday. And all online poker in the United States went away because you can't use a domestic banking or financial institution to put money into an online poker site. So all the sites, Full Tilt, Poker Stars, everybody had to stop play immediately. It happened. We went on our computers to go play that day, and there was a Department of Justice symbol on each site that they were closed. right? And people started getting arrested at full tilt. And right now, it's a state-by-state situation. And Ultimate Poker, who I'll be signing with, it's one of the owners is Lorenzo Fertitta. They are now playing online, and it's legal in Nevada, excuse me, and it's legal in New Jersey. And the next 3 states to pass will be Pennsylvania, New York, and California, by everybody's estimation. So in about 2 to 3 years, the Wild Wild West is going to come back, and you're going to have these 20-year-old, 19-year-old kids playing poker online, and I know many of them, more than I can count, that are making 6 figures, if not 7 figures a year, just playing online on their computers in their homes.
You play online, don't you, Lily?
No, I like cards, I like blackjack, but I was never good at math, and I've listened to podcasts, and I've watched some of these shows to understand the statistics that you're looking at, and to be able to know when to, if you watch it on TV, there'll be players that fold the minimum bets 10 times, and then, if it were me, I'd panic, I'm losing that money, and I would make a stupid bet. The point in poker, from what I've seen, is that you just have to wait for that one hand and win a $6 million pot. You can't, I don't know, I mean, I don't know if I'm right or not, but it's not like blackjack where you're looking to win every hand.
I'm a big blackjack player, and I actually made my money for 6 months in between companies that I owned, because I had to pay the bills. I would fly to Vegas and try to make $4 or $5 grand just to pay the bills that month. So I can actually say I lived as a blackjack player paying my bills for about 6 months, and it's like you have to accept the fact that in blackjack, the casino always has a slight edge.
Right.
If you can win 3 hands in a row, you better, there's systematic betting. It's all about money management.
Right.
Because you can't win every hand in blackjack. It's just impossible.
Oh,
you can have runs.
Yeah.
You can have runs.
And then, I don't know if I know you work a lot with the casino, so if you don't want to answer that, that's fine. But everyone I talk to, because I love Vegas, and I always talk to people who make their living there, and everyone says, ultimately, to win at blackjack, you have to count cards. Do you think that's true?
I think if you're the kind of person that's going to play every day, that would be helpful. I'm not a card counter, but I play with a system called BSC. I call it ball, skill, and confidence. And you better have a 20% luck factor to go with that. And what I mean by that is that the skill comes from learning and understanding the game. So I can ask you 2 questions, and that'll tell me if you're good at blackjack or not.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm also really high, so give me a little bit of a break, but yeah, I'm ready.
Well, if you can't play blackjack when you're high, then you can't play blackjack. Come on.
That's true. Okay, hit me with the questions.
All right. Dealer's got a 6 showing.
Oh, no.
And you've got an ace-4. What do you do?
Well, are you playing a surrender thing, or because
No. You're okay.
Right,
you're not at a shoot. Let's just let's
I
just
would
take it
say-
as an example.
I would
You
say
can't
hit.
surrender. You got to make it. You got to make a decision.
I would have to hit.
Okay, that's not the right answer.
I know, but it's like
No, but I didn't mean the right
Yeah.
answer is to fold, or excuse me,
Okay.
is to not take a hit. The answer is when the dealer has a 4, 5, or 6. That's their bust cards.
okay,
Doesn't matter what you have in your hand. You're betting that she or he is going to bust.
right,
So you want to edge your bet to make the most money at that moment. So if you have $50 on the hand, double down. Double down and take 1 card and let them go for the bust. That's how you make money at blackjack. That's one
Okay.
example. You have a pair of 8s. You get dealt 2 8s. The dealer's got a king. What do you do?
well,
Which is 16, folks, for those.
right. You're supposed to split it, but he has a king, so you're worried that you're going to lose a hand. So
Yes and no, not necessarily. And it all depends on your chip stack, because there is such a thing called gut calls. The book can say whatever it wants,
Uh-huh.
but this is what you follow. This is what you listen to.
yeah,
Now, in a chance where you can, I'm sorry if we're speaking Spanish to anybody listening, but if you, at that point, surrender. Now, we'll get back to surrender. If you play on a shoe where you can surrender, every hand that you can bust on, surrender that friggin' hand. Get it out of there. You will save so much money over the next couple hours
Okay.
going for those winning hands. And I think of one last one. Dealer has an ace, finds out they ask you for insurance. You say no. They check to have a blackjack. They don't have it. You're looking at your cards now.
right,
You've got a 8 and a 2, which is 10.
right.
What do you do?
You're supposed to just hit it,
No.
aren't you not?
You're supposed to double down.
But the one, it was like King of Blackjack or whatever. It was Wizard of Odds. Said that when it's like a king, queen, ace, you're worried that they're gonna. No, never mind. They didn't have blackjack. They didn't have blackjack.
Fuck the Wizard of Oz.
What the hell? Who the frig is the Wizard of Oz?
Not Wizard of Odds.
Oh, Wizard of Odds.
Fuck that punk.
Okay, well, yeah.
That fucking dude. When was the last time you seen him belly up at a fucking thing? How much he charge you for the program?
No, it was free.
All right.
I'm so high right now.
I know you.
Jimmy, you can always, a poker, blackjack, you can definitely make some money at. Here's the big key to the situation of blackjack. Make sure you know when to get the Velcro off your ass and get up from the seat.
Yeah, that's
you
always my
go
problem.
in and hit them like you wake up in the middle of the night with your girl and you give her a Pearl Harbor at 3 a.m. You know what that is, Joey?
He don't fucking know.
But you know what a Pearl Harbor is?
No, not really.
It's like you wake up, you look at your girl, you feel like you're in Pearl Harbor. No, go back to sleep. Sit there, do an hour session, and get the hell out of there as soon as you're up. Go have a drink, go talk to girls, whatever. Then go back and go do another session. Don't sit there for 6 hours straight. They're going to get you.
Yeah. Well, they always seem to get me when I go back. Like, if I win and I step away, going back's always a mistake.
I'll make you a promise. You guys come to Vegas, I'm there. You're with Joey at a UFC. I guarantee I will promise you 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to play some blackjack.
Where do you like to play in Vegas?
I play poker, but mainly. But I don't always have time. When I'm there after a UFC, you'll usually, unless I'm with a girlfriend, you usually see me at the blackjack table after I have dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's stupid. Oh, I do want, actually, I want to ask you this. Have you played Blackjack Switch?
I will not play wild cards. I won't play any of those.
I love Switch.
No,
it was great.
That's like Jewish poker. I'm sorry. I don't.
He's Jewish.
There you go. Okay, you got it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's why he loves all that shit. That's how they get you.
I'm Italian. Okay, we're very similar. Our mothers are very similar.
Sure.
I went to your house for the brisket and the twice baked potatoes. You
Yeah.
came to my house for the pasta.
Okay.
But in reality, Jewish moms, Italian moms, a lot of similarities, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, but it's you don't like it because most times.
No, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just play straight blackjack. I don't play. I won't go to the casinos here in LA and play the 22 California blackjack.
Right.
He don't want to play games because he knows every time the switch, that's more money for the fucking house.
It's another angle for the house.
It's another angle. All that shit. And I don't even know cards, but I know anything unless that's what they want you to do. They want you to go in there, yeah, give me a vodka tonic. And next thing you know, you're sucking 22 fucking cocks. You know what I'm saying? Filipino dicks right there at the fucking Commerce Casino. They yelling at you. You got no egg rolls. What are you going to do? Let me ask you this, Bruce. Could you make a living just gambling every year?
Mm-hmm.
Just playing?
I chose...
How many nights a week would you have to go out?
If I was to choose, which I would never choose, but if I was to choose that kind of life, I would probably take 3, max 4 days to play what I needed to play to pay the bills. Like I said, I do not want to be a grinder. But in poker, I can do more than pay the bills. If I went into poker professionally like these guys, I really truly believe, because I cash usually 70% of the tournaments, or 60% of the tournaments, that I enter, where the average good amount is 20 to 30%. I don't play as many tournaments as the guys. I know if I got really into it and honed my game, I'd make 6 figures easy playing poker. I know I would.
Wow.
If not millions, winning some of the big tournaments. I would get sponsored by some of the big, one of the big sites, like some of the guys I know, and hopefully they would sponsor me and I'd travel and do the number. But it's not the life I choose. When I decide to stop doing what I do in sports and entertainment, retire out of the octagon in that area of my life or whatever, I do like poker, because when I retire, it's going to be something I can have fun playing when I get older. But I want to do other things. I want to play poker. I want to hopefully, still be dating and having fun. I want to be able to surf and see movies and and read and just do what I love in life. It wouldn't just be to do one thing. I'd become a very unhappy person. I got to have a zest. I got to wake up and feel fresh, I like variety. But whenever you choose anything in life, you've got to focus. If you don't focus, you're going to do it half-assed. You're not going to succeed.
No, it's always nice to find what people's... when your hobby makes you a little bit of money, when it's very enjoyable.
My hobby I make money in is collecting. I collect antique weapons and artifacts. I collect vintage movie memorabilia. I got a huge poster collection that I cherish, like It's a Wonderful Life, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Day the Earth Stood Still. I got all these, amazing art pieces. And I collect sports memorabilia. One of the biggest things is one of the best investments you can make today is wax packs. Remember the wax packs we played with the kid for 5 cents? You get a pack of Topps baseball cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was born in 1957. The pack of 5 cards and a bubblegum piece Cost 5 cents.
How good was that fucking bubble?
It was great every time it broke. It was awesome.
Fuck. It broke into like 18
pieces. The
Every
whole bit.
once in a while, you got a fresh piece. That was the day, your luckiest fucking day of your life. But if not, that gum always broke into 18 pieces. Took you like 15 minutes just to get it right, but it was good for about 4 minutes.
You know what that pack costs today? 1957 Tops. I just bought one last year. It's like valued at a little about 5,000 plus. And these packs actually go up an average of anywhere from 10 to 30% or more a year. Like Michael Jordan's rookie card is in the Fleer wax pack, again costing 5 cents. I bought these in 1992 for like $20, right? That one just sold on the eBay on the internet just this week for $990. 2 years ago, or a year ago, I paid $450. It doubled in price in 1 year. Why? Simple economic theory, supply and demand. That's what collectibles are all about. Today, you buy stuff. Anything pre-1975 is your best area to think about collecting in sports memorabilia.
Pre-1975.
Pre-1975, because since then they just started printing paper. Maybe some of the early 80s specific things like the Fleer pack I told you with Michael Jordan. But from the 1990s on, it's just tons of paper. Now, another collectible, when the UFC trading cards came out by Topps, those boxes cost $60, $70, right? They're $800+ today. And they sell. The first issue. So I used to tell everybody in my podcast, go out and go buy yourself a couple boxes, put them away. You know, there's ways to make money. Collecting is a big thing. Don't throw anything away. That has potential value. I can go on and on about this. This is what my TV show that I'm working on is going to be all about. I just can't go into
collectibles and sports. That's fucking amazing. My buddy was George Kolodinsky. That's what he does. He frames everybody's shit. Bernard King. Bernard King has like a Burger King. There's Albert King.
There's a buyer for everything, Joey.
And he was amazed. Basketballs. Do you remember that some guy sent me a 76er basketball?
Right.
He found it in his garage. I took it to the collector. The collector said it was Atlanta Hawk basketball. That wasn't Julius Erving. It was JoJo White. It was the weirdest fucking thing. They found all this shit out. That's a complete different world I don't know about. Is there really a lot of money in it? In really sport collectibles?
Yes. I know people that make tremendous amounts of money, but you got to know what to buy. My brother Brian's amazing at it. Amazing. His house is actually like a store. I mean, he just doesn't have room for everything he has. You know, we've got other areas we put stuff.
Now, years ago, HBO did a special, sort of like what you did for Brian Gumble or one of those guys on there, and it was about the whole scam, the authenticity scams.
The big authenticity scam is in the signatures. I have very few signatures that I collect unless I personally got them from somebody, like Magic Johnson. You know, I met him back in '92, and he signed a picture for me, and we were doing some charity thing together. And I know if I can prove with a COA, which is called Certificate of Authenticity, you got to really. It's like the horse's mouth that told you what they told you. It's all about who you heard it from, right? Well, it's all about who you bought it from in sports memorabilia. Yes, because there's such wherever there's big money, there's going to be counterfeit, unauthentic stuff. As an example, out of sports memorabilia, like when I was and do collect, the antique weapons. One of the biggest collectibles, even to this day, and the most valuable, is German military from World War II. As an example, a German Luger. Okay, when you get a German Luger, it should be stamped with the last two numbers of the serial number on roughly 16 or 17 different pieces inside the Luger. And I know how to find them all. I take it apart and find them all. But then if you take it and you take one piece out and you change it, which has a different number, that gun that could be worth $10,000 suddenly is worth maybe $1,000. A lot of people will take it and they'll refinish it, or what they call reblue it, thinking they got a beautiful piece now. No, you just ruin the whole original value of that piece with like refinishing a car. You buy an antique car, sure, a lot of them got to be fixed up, but who fixed it up? How they fix it up? All these things come into play when you're collecting.
You ever collect anything like stamps or bugs?
No.
Nothing, you fuck?
It's,
You
no.
ever collected nothing?
No, did you?
Yeah, I collected comic books for a couple years.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
I
something
collected
that's
stamps
valuable.
for a couple years.
Joey, big money in comic
Big
books.
money.
Big money.
I used to rob the guy, bring him back. It was a fucking nightmare.
I'm so upset because when I was like 10, I had the original Spider-Mans and all this. I saved my brother Brian saved it, and I don't know what happened. My dad or something of all people was the biggest collector I ever knew. We threw him out, And to this day, that collection we had as kids would be six-figure value.
I had all that
more.
shit. Cincinnati Red Gloves, Orlando Cepedas first. I had tons of shit growing up. Lee, how the fuck didn't you collect nothing as a kid? Yarmouth,
No, I didn't know. I know. I
$20 bill sports, Boston Red Sox.
They had these little
What'd you collect?
plastic things that kids used to. I don't know. You flick them at each other, and like it'd be battles. I don't remember the name of
How
them.
many did you collect all of a sudden?
You would carry them around in these cases.
And that's all
But
you ever fucking collected?
I had baseball cards, but I was never like into it. I would just anytime I got a baseball card, I would put it in this little
I
notebook.
wonder what this is the youth of America. This fucking kid never.
Well, how do you know what to collect? Like,
Bugs
what if you
or
kept these for 8,000
fucking
years?
knives or dead people's teeth? Something. You gotta collect something, Lee. You know, you gotta fucking have a good time. I tried to collect shit and I got rid of it. I got bored with it.
Here's the key to collecting. Here's the key to life, in my opinion. And you got this hopefully from my book. I'm a very passionate individual. If you have passion for something, like I do for movie memorabilia, you know, as an example, and I can look on the wall at my 7-foot tall poster from the movie It's a Wonderful Life, which is one of the best movies ever made, still played every Christmas. I look at it and I get a good feeling. I'm passionate about it. It makes me feel good. If you can do that and collect, and you know how to make money at it at the same time, it's perfect. It's kind of like having a job, like what I do in the Octagon. I'm so passionate. I love so much when I step into that Octagon. I live for that. It's one of the greatest things I do in my life, and that thrill just gets more and more and more. And I get paid for this, unbelievable. That's nirvana.
You do it right, and you have. I remember sitting with you like for UFC 94 and talking about how UFC 100 was coming up, and you were going to do the Buffett 360, and we were all excited, and Red Band was taping, and we were fucking excited. And you went out there and you did it one move, it's just, and I see you, I'm at the weigh-ins. My whole thing about the UFC is if I don't go to the weigh-ins, it ain't the same.
It sets up the whole picture.
The party is the fucking weigh-ins. If you're an amateur, you don't go, the weigh-ins is the whole thing. And I haven't been going. I've been lazy, I don't go. I like to go to the weigh-ins when I'm in Vegas. I'm in the fucking hotel, and I go right from the weigh-ins up to my room like a soldier. And I refuel for the night. I don't want to be walking the streets in the weigh-in. People want to fuck with you and shit. That's why I don't go. But I love the weigh-in time. Was talking to Buff, and I'm like, Buff, what are you going to do for the 100, the 360? And I was very excited. Excuse me. I had a little burp that came out of my muffler and my throat at the same time. You ever had one of those?
No, but I guess I'm about to enjoy it in about 3 seconds.
No.
You farted on me online at the cafe yesterday.
Oh, my God. Where did I fart on you?
At the coffee place.
That's right. You were standing behind me by mistake. I farted on you. You said it smelled terrible. And it was one of those farts that comes out and then it doubles. Like it just got momentum to it. Like it.
Not to segue from your story, but do you know the new thing about farts is that smelling farts might be good for your health? Did you read this? Did you hear this?
He has a joke that a girl's going to fart in my face. So I had about 10,000 people tweet to me, look at this, man, Flavor's trying to help you.
And he don't want to let the chick fart in his mouth.
Finish your story. Finish your story.
About what?
What was he talking about a second ago? He was going on somewhere.
Oh, where he farted on me.
Oh, at the coffee shop, a nice Marie tea.
You see what a fart does? It just breaks up the momentum of everything, right?
It's delicious. Let me give some shout out. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, actually, I was gonna change the subject a second and ask you and tell you that I think one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard. I don't watch the Kardashians. Okay, I mean, big ass in a sex tape, easily released, fine. And granted, I give her all the credit, her mom all the credit. Go make money, do what you do. But this really is too much. The rich just keep getting richer. Have you heard about what's happening with this app, Kim Kardashian Hollywood?
No.
All right. Somebody came out with an app, Kim Kardashian Hollywood. It's currently being downloaded, and what you do is you download it for free. I feel like I'm going to sell another 100,000 apps by talking about this, but
not with this audience.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
So you basically download it, and the girls, whoever downloads it, you pay money to dress up and buy the clothes and rub shoulders with celebrities. It's an app. See, it's a cartoon.
They're paying for their characters in the app.
The characters in the app.
to wear clothes, but they're paying real money.
So it's currently making $700,000 a day. She gets 50%. Right? Her mother's probably going to get the usual 20% cut. Her take from this right now is estimated at $45 million. They say 90, but $90 million. She'll get like half if you do the numbers. She's going to equate her total net worth with this game. The rich just get richer, but it's all about who is getting richer. It's unbelievable.
Who's fucking giving her $700,000? I want to know who the fuck is ordering this shit from fucking Kim Kardashian. Who's at home right now going, you know what? I want to dress up.
And it's not even for them to
I
wear.
want to dress up the retarded brother.
It's an app. They're playing on their phone. It's a fantasy app. It's like when you go to Mafia Wars on Facebook, and I'm coming out with MMA Federation, which is the social game app for MMA. I've got a team of developers working in London right now. I don't know if you know this, Joey, but I've made 3 video games called Ready to Rumble Boxing, and I've done a lot of stuff in the video game industry. But my game comes out in March of next year. You ever see Mafia Wars on Facebook?
Yeah.
This is MMA meets Mafia Wars in Farmville. It's a total thing. We're going to be signing fight teams. We already have signed fight teams from all over the world coming in. None of the UFC fighters because they're exclusive to the EA game, which is a great game. The UFC game that just came out by EA. But this is not a video game where you're pressing buttons and throwing punches. You totally become immersed in the world of MMA. And you pay for things to power up. It's free to get it. But you'll be able to train with American top team fighters. You'll be able to train with the AKA. You'll be able to train with Fierce, who trains George St. Pierre. And you'll be able to get in their world of videos. And I can go on and on and on. And I've got a team of literally 15 developers in London with my partner who's in London, creating this game, and we just hired on as one of our VPs, the man that created Fight Night for EA and Call of Duty and all. And it's one of my big projects, Joey. I'm very
What's your
proud of
favorite
this.
game, Constructive?
I've gotten immersed in all of them, but that's the thing. I didn't have the money to be paying to get up, so I'd like they make you wait like 6 days to play, and so all those games are tough. They get addicting though.
Lee,
What's your favorite game?
what's
Give
your
me
favorite
one
fucking
game.
What's with the
that jelly splash thing was fun.
what jelly?
Like you flip the characters and you break. I don't know.
You gotta get your
Jimmy,
shit
you like you like fighting games at all?
Oh yeah, I'm actually waiting to get when I get the PS4 so I can play the new UFC game.
Why don't you tell me? I would have brought you a copy, for gosh sakes.
Oh, I don't know.
EA just said, because I was in the game and they nicely sent me a half dozen copies.
Oh, that's cool.
I got an Xbox. They sent me PS4s.
You know, when all that shit came out, by the time those things came out, Nintendo, by that time I was already hijacking trucks and shit.
Yeah, you're going to sit home and play a video game.
Fuck you, I was living it. I
you-
have time for. I swear, how fucking crazy is that?
These kids, these adults, even myself. I mean, when I first came out with Ready to Rumble Boxing, did you ever play that game, Jimmy, back in 2000?
His name is.
It's Lee, but that's okay.
What was that?
Oh, my name is Lee.
Oh, why do I call you Jimmy? It's Lee. Wait, am I
Who
saying?
gives a fuck?
Why didn't you tell me for the whole damn show? I'm saying Jimmy, for God's sake. Jesus, Lee.
Fuck it, Lee.
You are high if you can't even
gives a
acknowledge your
fuck?
own name.
The
He
first
kept looking
time.
at-
This is why I gotta friggin' write them down on 3x5 cards when I work, so I don't forget a name. Now I'm there. You know what? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna mail you just for being a dick on this show and not knowing your name. I'm sending you a UFC game for your PS4.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Will you give him my email, Joey, and email me your address?
Jimmy,
I'm
get
sending it to you. Okay.
Jimmy, get it
Well,
together.
the first time I thought I was high and I missed it.
Lee, I said Jimmy about.
He ain't mad at you, though. He ain't
I don't care.
We
The
were
second
we
time
were loving
he
it.
was
We
he
were
was dying laughing. So,
I have to be the worst friggin' guest on the show ever.
No!
Ever.
This is tremendous. You called him fucking Jimmy. He's done. He's Jimmy from now on.
All right, well, you're going to be playing UFC next week. Just give me an email with your address,
thank you
okay?
so much.
Let me give some shout-outs real quick. First off, 200 fucking episodes. You guys, I love you with all my fucking heart. The whole Death Squad family. Death Squad Nashville. Death Squad Harlem. Death Squad Australia. Death Squad fucking deep in the jungle in the Philippines, whatever. Rick Moncrief, Simon Holloway, Akul Verapian, Jay Dominguez, Luca Banana, Sandman, Luciano Soprano, Lauren, fucking Jay. I love all you cocksuckers. Constantine, Leon, Waterboxer. You guys are the backbone of the organization. God bless you for being around, cocksuckers, and for hanging out and giving us love. We did the live podcast like with Miss Pat last night. You savages showed up. People were smoking dope, shooting heroin out in the fucking parking lot. We loved it. Some chick got fucked out there. She was bleeding from the mud. It was tremendous.
Why did I come on the night of the nuns?
Because we got to come here. I can't have you up there with those fucking savages. If you missed the live podcast last night, some fucking cool. I gave out some free vapor pens from the company. fucking Vapor. I love those guys. They said, that's a good vapor pen. I got to bring one in here tomorrow and smoke that motherfucker. That's a good one because you could buy the weaver and put it in there too. We could have been puffing right now, but you didn't think about it.
How many hits you get off one of those cartridges?
It depends. The vapor, at the place I go to now, they sell the vapor for $25. It's a half a gram. You know, I go on a trip, it lasts me 2 days, the little vapor. 2 days.
You also smoke a lot more than most people.
Yeah, than most people, so that's pretty good for two.
Probably get a week for someone else.
I would think if you have one of those, I'm sorry to interrupt your shout-outs, but if you have one of those vapor pens in your pocket and you like smoking, pot, how can you not take a hit off that every half hour? How can you have any discipline when that thing is sitting in your pocket
Please,
like
if
that?
I'm on a plane, I'm hitting that motherfucker like a savage. Because it goes right down. There's a vapor, there's a vacuum on the plane. People don't know. I remember one time
You smoking on the plane?
Oh fuck yeah! I got video of me blowing in a JFK.
Don't use the term blowing on JFK.
No, I'm sorry.
That didn't sound good, Joey.
No. The fucking vapor pen item. Now I don't do it. I don't care no more because the vapor pen gets you high in the morning. Mm-hmm. After that, it doesn't really get me high throughout the day. I need to smoke in the morning to get the party started.
That's because you smoke a lot.
I stopped because of jiu-jitsu. I had to stop.
Oh. So you don't smoke before you do jiu-jitsu?
No.
He doesn't smoke at all. Well, every once in a while.
I smoked last night when I got home. I smoked a little bit. This weed store, I got some shit now, and they got these 2 top shelves. They smell okay. You know what, man? I'm doing these breathing exercises and stuff, so the breathing's getting better at jiu-jitsu. I'm working at them every day. I'm holding my nose. I'm counting to 60. You know me, Lisa. I'm a fucking. You gotta shoot me with a bow and arrow 10 times. What the fuck, guys? Everything all right? Everybody, what the fuck, Lee? Look at the shape of you tonight.
Yeah, this is 4 days in a row.
You didn't. I can't believe you didn't collect stamps as a kid. You look like the type of kid collected something.
I wish I did.
Yarmulke, pickle jars, fucking something. I want to give a shout out to the people who are making people beautiful. On it, from Mike Dolce to Joe Rogan to Lisa. Beautiful motherfuckers. You understand me? If it's not the strong bone, it's the shroom tech. It's not a vitamin. It's a way of life. It's optimization. It's making you better at what the fuck. Every time I go to that jiu-jitsu now, I take 2 or 3 of those shroom techs. You got to see me doing those hip escapes like a fucking savage.
Hey,
like
let me give a call out to Onnit. Joe got me some of the Alpha Brain, which I used not this year but last year at the World Series. Let me tell you something. That stuff's pretty good. I give Onnit's got some good products. They sent me some nice stuff. I like Onnit.
No. Even Dolce's in bed with them. Do me a favor, man. You want to just snoop around? Go to Onnit.com. Go snoop around. See what they got. They got kettlebells. They got ropes. You want to hang yourself? Get a fucking rope. I don't give a fuck. But they got great supplements. They got great stuff for you, from the hemp force protein to the shroom tech. I mean, they got what's the sugar they? They got Sylvia. They got the testosterone replacement. Guys, go and read. Whatever I tell you, I'm gonna fuck it up. All I know is the shit works. Go to Onnit.com before you order. Press in Church CHURCH. Get 10% off. Get on the list. Get on the Stay On It program. Get it delivered to your house at the first of the month like a fucking soldier. Why fuck around? You gotta leave. You gotta go down to the vitamin store and stand there like a fucking bumpy on the 3rd. Fuck that shit. Communism's over. Elvis is dead. I don't feel so good myself. You don't need to leave the fucking house. The other day I'm trying to put this thing together. I told my wife we're eating lunch. She goes, hold on, I'll order it. Boom, boom. She goes, Amazon will get it there Friday. What's today?
Thursday.
It got there today. We didn't have to fucking leave the house. That's how quick these motherfuckers are delivering. Delivery is up to a different level now. That's what everybody's. I didn't know what they were going to attack.
You know why?
Why?
Because they're on it.
They're on it.
They're on it.
Look at this shit.
Joey, I do a lot of things in life, but my best thing I say I'm best at is I'm best as a marketer. That name on it, I love that name.
I love it.
I love that name.
They don't fuck around.
Yeah.
That's pure marketing for a tremendous product. Now, you want to talk about a tremendous product? You want me to tell you what I tried the other day?
What?
The trail mix with the dark chocolate and the berries.
That sounds
Smoking. Naturebox.com. Throwing heat at the motherfucker. Nutritionally approved snacks. You sit there all day in your fucking office on your ass. Your ass smells from fucking eating potato chips and Snickers bars. You don't need that aggravation. Go to naturebox.com. See what they got to offer. Lee, count it off. From the black and white granola to they got stuff.
They got sourdough, cheddar pretzels,
sriracha
cashews, South Pacific plantain chips, chili lime pistachios,
spicy pistachios,
caramel pretzel pops. Oh, that sounds good. Everything bagel sticks, Baked sweet potato fries.
Can anybody make pistachios in a bag out of the shell? Does anybody do that?
They make them with the bag, with the fucking shell, and they make them spicy.
But do they?
This Nature Box is delicious. I wouldn't bullshit you.
No, I'm just asking. No, I'm sure it is delicious.
Delicious.
I like pistachios, but
The shells are tough.
the shells are tough. Has anybody ever made a bag of pistachios out of the shells? Have you ever seen that?
No.
Just the shells.
No.
Just the nuts.
No, the thing you eat inside the shell, the seed, whatever you want to call it. Has anybody ever made a pistachio product where you're getting a bag of the actual stuff you eat? Because you don't eat the shells, do you?
Depends.
Find out how high you are.
Depends on what type of teeth I got cracking that week. You know, if the Armenians working at the dental office, you know,
I don't know.
I don't eat the fucking
Armenian
shells. You don't eat the shells, you eat the fucking thing. But see, now they're cracked, like they're really tight. You gotta get your tooth in there and your fang. Fuck that. Nature Box puts it in an oven and it cracks open like a fucking clitoris. When you lick that motherfucker, it just opens up in the morning like that, and the one wing opens up, but the other one stutters, just like that. That's what Nature Box does. So you don't have to fuck around. You're watching Law and Order. You just stick your hand there, take a thing out, bam, and they crack right open. That's my point.
Look, if I can find pistachios that are as good as a fine clitoris, I think I'm going to buy about a case.
Nature Box got them. Go to naturebox.com, whether it's pistachios, whether it's a black and white granola, you're going to fucking love it. And you're going to get how much percentage off?
50%.
50% on your first order. Go to naturebox.com, press in.
Joey,
Joey, 50% off your first order. Joey, not 10, not 20, not 30, 50 motherfucking percent off your first order. Where are you going to get that type of action? Nobody takes care of you like the Church of What's Happening Now. Speaking of the Church of What's Happening Now, when I went to San Jose, I saw my little fucking cabanos from naileditlife.com. They gave me some fucking vapors, a little wax. I took care of my friends, but they also gave me a little present. They gave me a new product they got, the peanut brittle. Did I tell you about the peanut brittle?
you said I was going to get some, but then it...
Well, next week when they come down, we got to get you some peanut brittle. I saw the devil and the devil's cousin. I told them both to get off the fucking plane. They must have taken a parachute off and they fucking left me alone. But that's Nailed It Life. Whether it's the gummy bears, whether it's the peanut brittle, whether it's the vapor pen, the number one vapor pen out there in the market, tremendous guarantee. If you call these guys, they'll call you back or they'll answer the phone. What the fuck, Lee? They'll call you back.
If you call them, they'll call you back.
They'll call you back. That's customer service. I don't deal with fucking vampies. If I got somebody fucking sponsoring me, it's because when you call them, they give you the respect that you deserve and they call you back, and they don't put you on the phone with some Hindu. I can't no hablo. You don't need that aggravation. You got shit to do. All right. On it, naturebox.com, Nailed It Life. Support these people. It's our 200 podcast. We want to go straight up to fucking 400. Lee, can I get a little water for you,
Yeah,
for
sure.
Joey, if you don't mind, my brother? I'm over here fucking seeing
Jimmy Lee, can I have one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jimmy Lee. That's his name. That's his new fucking name, Jimmy Lee. Why people bothering me for Lee, trying to sell me computers and shit? I don't bother nobody. Buff. You gotta
Yes.
close this motherfucker out. Give me some closing arguments. Whatever you're trying to tell me. What's your message on life?
You know-
I know you're a busy guy.
I'm a busy guy, but that's my own choice. Maybe I'm a bit of an overachiever or workaholic, whatever. But I got family to take care of, and we're all just trying to live and do life as best we can. But I'm going to say it again, Joey. To me, in life, I believe we're all created equal. I respect everybody for what they respect. I'm not a religious guy. When I tell you God bless you, it's because whoever your God is, I hope he, she, it, whatever form they are in, blesses you because that's your choice in life. I treat everybody with respect, and I like to be treated the same, and I have no time for a-holes. And a very simple theory about life. And I just want to be happy, and I love helping people be happy. I love seeing people happy. I get tears in my eyes when people spin the lotto wheel and win 100,000 or $1 million, knowing that it's changing or helping their lives. It's not going in my pocket; it's going in theirs. And I'm the happiest guy in the world. You know, it's just the way I am.
You've always been a gentleman to me. Your brother's always been a gentleman. I remember I saw him at the premiere, and you said to me, just say hello. I don't bother nobody. I'm going to go over there and drop your name. I know Brucey, Buffer. Fuck that shit. When it's time, I'll see you somewhere. But you've always been a great guy. And you know what? I started going to UFC when I was fucked up, you know? And Joe will let me walk around and stuff and talk to people. And everybody's always been great. Everybody's always been great to me. How
and
are
everybody's,
you? You're thirsty. Can we get you something? Are you okay? You know, and That's always really nice.
Well, it's that kind of attitude and the approachability of everybody from Dana White at the top down to the fighters and everybody else, including Joe, who's great at it too, and I like to think I am too, very courteous to our fans, because without them, we're nothing. And it's like that approachability, which you don't get in the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, with all respect to these fine athletes themselves. You can't get LeBron James' autograph as he walks through the lobby, but Chuck Liddell, in a heartbeat, he'll stop and sign 50 of them, And I'm not saying anything wrong with LeBron. It's just the nature of the sport. So the approachability in the sport of MMA, and especially the UFC, which is MMA, I think has really been a big reason why it's grown exponentially so fast, and so big. We're looking at a sport that was created in 1993 in this country and has entered mainstream. In my lifetime, I've never seen anything do that. It's the first time. So I'm very proud and honored and humbled every day I wake up, and I know that I'm got a UFC coming down that weekend or whatever. I take great pride in what I do, and I love working for the Fertittas and Dana, and I love working with Joe. He's a great guy. I've been working alongside Joe in the Octagon for 16 years or however long it's been, and I think we should all just be very thankful for all these experiences that we've been able to receive and able to enjoy.
One thing that in life you get thrown all these fucking things every week, and you got to come up with fucking dough. It's not when you and I were growing up. You went to see a Sixer game for $12, and you got a hot dog for 50 fucking cents. You want to go to a Laker game, it's $250. It's $300, and that's without the car and the fucking steak and the blow and the fucking broad and the makeup and all the bullshit that comes with it.
Think about the average family income of like around $51,000 a year. How can they afford
a
baseball game?
This shit?
A Dodger game for you to take your son to, your parking, everything. You're talking a couple $100.
I was born at a great time, and I was fortunate that I got to go to everything, even hockey games. I went to Islander games. I went to Ranger games as a kid for $15, $8, $20. I go to a Laker game. Like I said, I've been blessed to win those tickets that time. And I couldn't believe the tickets are $248 if I would have paid for them, and they were all the way the fuck up there. But my point being, if you ever have a chance to, I don't care if you got to follow Dana and win the tickets, take them out of the fucking garbage can when he fucking meets you at Starbucks. What an experience. What an experience, no matter what level you're in at the UFC, because you don't know who's walking past you at what time at those things.
No.
The music, your heartbeat. And if you're lucky and you win floor seats or the other seats, if you watch Buffer, if you watch the black referee, Herb Dean, if you watch these guys, in between fights, you guys are shaking hands with people. Mm-hmm. As the fights are switching, the fight camps are switching, one is walking out, you're out there shaking hands, hugging people. Mario Yamasaki's out there. Everybody's out there hugging motherfuckers. Dana comes in, it's like Elizabeth Dana walking into the business. Everybody fucking claps and stands up. And all of a sudden, it's live, and it goes to three different extremes, and you see it. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen at a baseball game. In a fucking baseball game, you sit there to the seventh inning, some fat fuck gets up and sits his national anthem. I got to stretch, and I eat one of those communist hot dogs, and I go home, and I'm set a minus 300 with the fucking hot dog, and I got to stop for fucking 22 Alka-Seltzers because I'm bleeding from my foot from the diabetes from the fucking hot dog. It really is a great experience, and I see you guys work, and I've learned that it's a different time now. When I was a kid, I was a fan. I always say this. When I was a kid, I was a fan of Julius Erving. I would go to the Garden, or we would drive down to the Spectrum, and I would stand there and go, look at fucking Julius Erving.
I had the pleasure to have dinner with him, or rather drinks.
God.
I had the pleasure to have drinks with him, with my brother Michael. I had him announce the Bulls and the Utah Jazz final game in the championships when Jordan was sick in the first half, scored 7 points, and came out and scored over 42 in the first half. In the second half, scored over 42 to win the game in the series. And that night, we partied with Charles Barkley and Julius Erving. I was in awe of Julius. I mean, I don't get awestruck. I don't get awestruck. But man, this was Julius Erving. This was Erving. And I was like, oh my God, I was blown away.
But you think of how fast the times have changed. Now the people that are fans of Chuck Liddell could talk to him on Twitter.
Yeah.
If Chuck Liddell's really cool, he'll talk to you on Twitter. Chris Cornell will talk to you on Twitter. Julius Erving, I follow him on Twitter, and he tweets. He fucking tweets. I've hit him up a couple times, never hit me up. But fucking think how many hits Julius Erving gets. So I don't expect anything. But just the fact that we're in more contact. with the people around us. So now I pay for the ticket. I sit at the UFC. I'm not expecting nothing. And, honey, look who's walking towards me. Michael Buffer and Herb fucking Dean. I'm going to hug them both and get a picture.
Wait, Michael was there?
I'm just...
Is that getting back at me because I called you Jimmy?
No, I'm saying... Oh, my God. The fucking reef is killing me. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't think...
Hey, I'm his manager, man. What's he doing there?
Jimmy, you're fucking me up. And there's Bruce Buffer with a suit on, hugging people, taking pictures with women. And there's Uriah Faber right behind him. That doesn't happen.
No.
When you go to a Knick game, if fucking Carmelo Anthony's hurt, he doesn't walk up to you when they call a timeout and hug you and take a picture with you.
Joey, it doesn't happen at boxing either. At boxing events, you don't see that kind of interaction with the people, that are part of the boxing event. You don't see them doing that. It's an amazing thing. But I remember in the old days when it was like crickets. We'd walk through hotel lobbies and it was crickets. Nobody was doing anything. I mean, we are here because of obviously the great leadership and management of Zuffa and Lorenzo and Dana and Lorenzo's brother Frank Fertitta, and all that great team they have together. That's all a wonderful, wonderful given. But I get back to it, the approachability and the fans. Without the fans, we are nothing. And I remember when I was 4 years old, and in Philadelphia I was at the Marriott Hotel, and this tall black man was there who I recognized because I was watching boxing out of the womb with my dad, and his name at that time was Cassius Clay, right? So my brother Brian and I, who was 6, we walk up to him, we say hi. He spent 5 minutes with us, talking to us, right? I never forgot that for the rest of my life. And I hold that dear right here. That's the way I feel every time I see a kid that asks for an autograph, much less an adult. They paid for that ticket. They deserve that experience. And unless they're disrespectful or ask me for an autograph in the bathroom, which is man law, you don't do that, take the time. And if you're selling T-shirts, if you have sponsors, these are the people that are going to buy your shirt. These are the people that are going to buy your product. Hone your business. Be a gentleman, be respectful, and give these fans the fan experience they deserve.
How many fucking people come up to you when you have your dick in your hand and ask you if they can take a picture?
On a very, as an example, I would say on an average night, on show night, between going to the event and then when I get back to the hotel on the way up to my room, I would have to say that I easily sign and take in the area of probably 200 to 500 different pictures and autographs. It can be that way in Vegas. In Vegas, when it's jammed, on the average, at least 100 or more. It happens.
When Lee's in Israel, he takes 5,000 to 2,000 pictures a fucking day. He's a big star in Israel.
None of us have any privacy in Vegas. I mean, Joe, myself. I mean, it's you go to dinner, you get there, and I can't walk around Vegas on a UFC weekend like when I'm at Vegas on a non-UFC weekend.
Buff, I'm happy you fucking came in tonight. I'm happy you came in for the 200th episode. I'm happy we're still here making it happen.
I really enjoyed it. I'm going to have you on my podcast.
I know. I didn't even know you did a podcast till tonight. I read it, but I don't think he does it anymore.
I'm approaching, actually, I think we just did our 200th show. We're just about to do it's for 4 years now. I try to do it live every Tuesday at 11. Podcast One, which handles Adam Carolla and Steve Austin. They're the number one.
Goldberg.
Yeah, Goldberg just joined their crew.
Yeah.
I just signed a deal with them this week, so my show is going to be on Podcast One now.
Are you going to tape your thing over there?
Pardon me?
Are you going to tape the podcast there?
No, they're good because I do it on SureDog.com is where I'm live every Tuesday, and we made a deal where we will deliver the show to them. But they want me to go do it over there. I'll do a few shows there, but right now I'm 10 minutes away from my home.
Yeah.
That's 2 hours out of the day. But I'll